Tonight's program is rated R. Parental discretion is advised. This show is rated GJK. Extreme exposure warning. This show contains graphic images of Jordan's failures, constant critique of Jordan's game and legacy, graphic images of Zesty Jeffrey lies being exposed. This show may be offensive to Michael Jordan fans and Zesty Jeffries alike. Content is restricted to true basketball fans only.
And at the end of the day, like I said, Jordan was playing against a team that wasn't like the Boston of 2010.
Man, the bad boy Pistons were just as good, but we ain't doing that.
We're not saying this. Don't call them the bad boy Pistons.
Just as good, if not better. We ain't doing that.
The 1988 Pistons were never called bad boys. Not better than Boston. They didn't have the steals leader. They didn't have the guy leading the league in steals like Boston had.
Are we like,
I'm glad you
like
mentioned
season
that.
They didn't have an
All
all-NBA player. They didn't have an
like
all-NBA,
seasonal
all
titles
defensive
now?
players. But that matters. Of course it matters. So what not? We always says it matters. It does matter.
Did that 2010 Celtics team that you talking about make it to 3 straight finals?
No, they made the two though. Made the two though.
They made 2 out of 3 finals.
Yeah.
How can you measure how a team is greater other than their success as a team?
I'm going off on how good the players on their team are compared to the players in the league. If they have an all-defensive player and 3 all-stars and that Detroit team doesn't, that means that's what they have. The 82-game season, the Detroit Pistons had 1 all-star, no all-NBA player, no all-defensive player on their roster. They had 1 guy who could average 20 points per game. The 2010 Boston Celtics, the 2010 Boston Celtics had 3 all-stars, which from what I understand makes you a super team, right? And on top of that, had an all-defensive player who was the league leader in steals. So go ahead, Travis.
2010 Celtics were top 5 in defense and number 20 overall, number 19 overall in offensive ranking. 1988 Pistons were top 3 in defense and number 8 in total offense. So they were objectively better than that team.
with 3 all-stars.
Well, there you go.
Welcome to Goat James Kingdom. Welcome. I am Ajani the Exposer, and y'all have now been exposed by the Exposer. I appreciate it. And enjoy. I am called Ajani the Exposer. You guys are being exposed today.
Your opinion, I guess.
Move on from it. It was the 90s. That's it, bro. Move on from that. You don't know history. You don't know basketball. You just told me I'm stupid. But look how stupid you look because you don't know all this basketball. You don't know history. You don't know jamming. You don't know schematics. You don't know coaching. You don't know scouting. You don't know drafting. You don't know nothing from that. Michael Jordan's great because the media said you that. So told you to say that. I know how this reported, and you are officially being exposed by the Exposer, and you're going to sit there like a man and take this just like Buddy did 2 weeks ago.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Hey, get your numbers out. I had to get my numbers out.
Here's Ajani.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to another Friday night exposure with the Exposer. I'm your host, Ajani the Exposer, coming live and direct to you right here on the GOAT James Kingdom channel like I do every Friday night. Y'all go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber to the channel. And as usual, check out the GOAT James Kingdom membership, especially if you're a LeBron fan, because today, ladies and gentlemen, or actually this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a great show. I got my boy Tperfect in the building, and we're going to have a great discussion about the greatest teams of all time and what makes them the greatest teams and how we can measure teams from separate eras. As you can see from the intro, we had a nice discussion last week about who was better between the 2010 Boston Celtics and the 1988 Pistons. And we were trying to figure out how to measure it. So tonight's program will be about that. As you heard, Tperfect came with the smoke. He brought the stats. We talk stats here in GOAT James Kingdom. What up, Travis? You got to unmute yourself.
Whoa. Yeah. How you
Yo,
doing,
there
man?
we go. Yeah, I had muted you. I'm sorry about that. What's up, my friend? How we doing this evening?
Good, good. Just relaxing, man. How you doing?
Chilling, man. Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain. Ready for some Friday night exposure, So hopefully everyone is
Always.
home safe. Shout out to everybody in the comments. We see everybody as usual, chilling, doing their thing. Shout out to GOAT James Kingdom members. Big time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, again, we're here to have a great show this evening. We're going to have a great show. We're going to discuss some things about basketball teams. Talking about basketball teams, there are some games on the slate as well. As we can see, Dallas is playing Detroit. The Clippers are going up against the Hornets. We got the Bulls and the Raptors going at it. Philadelphia and Denver are in a barn burner. And then we also got Milwaukee versus the Spurs tonight. That's a great game. We have Boston versus the Pelicans. And then to end the night, we have the Phoenix Suns versus the Warriors. That tips off later on tonight. But this is how we're going to have today's show. We're going to discuss the greatest teams of all time, right? And how great they was. And obviously, Travis felt that I was a little bit, Travis, you said what I was being disingenuous. You were being disingenuous.
A little bit. I mean,
with
I just don't feel like I mean, I think that you can. I mean, there's definitely truth. Both things can be true. Like, typically, if you see a team that's loaded, with accolades wise, they're not going to do badly. That's you're right, 100%. There's no way I was saying that. What I'm saying though is that, like, my main point, and maybe I didn't express it well, was that the most loaded team doesn't always have the most success. Like, and I have a few examples of that, but that's all I was saying.
No, that's true. Oh, that's true. That's what. See, I'm glad that you said that. See, shout out to you, Travis. Because see, we've always said this in GOAT James Kingdom. We've started GOAT James Kingdom having this conversation. Remember, we brought up the All-Stars. Remember, the All-Stars is the big thing. Look at the All-Star team, right? Let's look at the All-Star team. Look how many All-Stars LeBron James has played with. How many stars are on his team? But as you can see on this list here, how many of these teams are champions? And these are teams with officially 3 All-Stars on it. And we can count, obviously, this is a graph we made about 3 years ago. So I think there's a couple of teams there's only one team since then has had 3 All-Stars on it, and that's Cleveland. Cleveland recently just got Garland, Mobley, and Mitchell as All-Stars this year. So that's 3 All-Stars there in Cleveland. So you can add them to the team. Let's see if they can win a championship.
I mean, hey, they've impressed. They're still impressing. I mean, they have the second or first the best defense in the league right now, right? Pretty sure. Or it's top 2.
Hey, why you Michael Jordan fans can't count, man? The 1988 Pistons did not win 63 games. Herm, what phone do you be on, Herm? Shout out to Herm, a GOAT James Kingdom member. We're going to put the link up for you very shortly. We know you guys can't count. You love to throw the 6 number out there. They didn't get the 60 wins, sir. They didn't get the 60 wins.
No.
Yeah, they didn't get the 60 wins. They didn't get the 60 wins. Now, again, tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen, isn't about who's the greatest teams of all time. The question is, how can we measure teams across eras? And an obvious thing for me is, like I always said, is the caliber of player, which the accolades will tell you this. Travis brought up some things about what's it called? Team stats, defensive rating. Travis is a analytic man. He loves the analytics. So, but from day one, we did this. And I remember, like I said, one of the first GOAT James Kingdom show was talking about the competition between Michael Jordan and LeBron. And I had even made this graph right here. And if you look at this graph tells us all the teams that, if I'm correct, I believe these are all the teams that either made an NBA Finals or won an NBA championship that had 2 All-NBA players on it or more. But matter of fact, hold on, wait. No, or had 3 all NBA players on their roster as well. Some of these teams didn't make the finals.
Yeah, that's a graph like that tells me, I mean, a lot about, obviously, about how the 60s was. That Celtics team was just, I think, an aberration. Like, nothing can happen like that again.
No, obviously not. Obviously not. There was so many different things going on at that time. But yeah, the Celtics within themselves, where you can see that there's the 50 Celtics, the 63. There's just so many teams on here that had 2 All NBA players on their roster.
Yeah.
So again, the All NBA team goes back all the way to the inception of basketball. So All Star selections and the All NBA team are the oldest honors and awards in NBA history.
Yeah, and also like a lot of these teams,
they're even older than the MVP. They're even older than the league MVP.
Yeah, I think they obviously I put like a lot more onus on like All NBA and stuff like All Star and stuff like that. But like most of these teams, not all of them, too, have like, except for what like the 50s, Warriors and like these teams all have like a top 10 player on it, if not 2, like all time, right? Like Lakers. I mean, like the 90s Bulls, the Celtics, 80s, like these players like were not just all NBA team, they're like all-time players.
Yeah, and again, this was a graph created in 2022 before that season ended. So I think between now there might be you can add the Lakers, who had 2 All NBA players last year with LeBron and AD to the team.
Yeah.
So you can, and I think there were some other teams in between there. If we take a look, Boston had I think Boston had Tatum and Brown in 2022. So
I was like,
those
Brown
teams not added.
Yeah, was he like? I was looking at Brown, like he didn't make an all defense or all NBA team that year, did he? Or like he deserved to?
He made it in 2022. He made it.
2022, okay.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Him and Jason Tatum on the All NBA team in 2022. So you can add them to the team. You can add the 2024 Lakers to the team because they had 2 All NBA players.
And all defense
as well
too.
To this roster. Yeah. Well, no, LeBron didn't make all defense. Stop throwing jabs at LeBron, sir.
Didn't AD make it?
Yeah, AD was. Yeah, just one. Again, now that's one thing I did not do. Now I did not make a list of the top teams that had the most all defensive selected teams of all time. I've never done that. Right. But I've always, like I said, I've always used the accolades to measure teams, right? Because that's what everybody always uses. They always bring up, well, this player's an all-star. This player's a finals MVP. You know what I'm saying? This guy was either the first option on his team. It's rare that anybody they bring up how many points they average or what those guys actually do on the basketball court. But they never bring up the concept of a team. Like when somebody says the Bulls is the greatest team of all time, they don't bring up the defensive rating or offensive rating. People don't even realize the Chicago Bulls, I think 4 or 5 of the championships that they had, they were the number 1 rated team in basketball, in offense.
Yeah.
Right? So those are things that people never bring up. They never bring up things of that nature. There's a graph that I brought up that I use playoff net rating, right? Which is basically your offensive rating compared to your defensive rating. I think that's a good barometer because when you look at the teams that have the highest of all time, you see how great those teams were. But like I always told you, I've always used accolades, Travis. Always use accolades. Here was my top 10 ranked dynasties of all time. And as you can see, how did I rank it? What was my point system? The NBA title, the finals that they made, the MVPs on their team, their all NBA, all defensive players, and the all-stars on their roster.
Yeah. I think one thing I think is indisputable is like when we're talking about like the dynasties, then you're going to have like the most stacked teams ever. Like especially player accolades wise, that's not debatable, I don't think. But like one thing that I brought up was there's consistently, and it's so hard to make, like there'd be so much research on this, and I did a little bit, and I was like, my mind was like wrecked. Like a lot of these teams, like you can look down through history every single year, and there's teams that are having success that like aren't nowhere near like the most loaded, even in their own year. Like for example, 04 Pistons, only 1 player made an All NBA team. They went through the Nets who had Jason Kidd, Kenny Martin, All Stars. Kidd was the all defensive player. Then they went through the Pacers who had 2 All Stars and the DPOY. They went through Kobe, Shaq, Lakers in the year where both of them, Kobe, Shaq, Lakers in 04. Kobe and Shaq both finished top 10 in MVP and DPOY voting, and they were both All Stars and first team All NBA. And then
I guess you're not gonna find. I told you your research was supposed to go find me a team that had no All NBA player and no All Defensive player on their roster, and they were considered a great team. The only team that y'all put on that category is the 1988 Detroit Pistons.
You know, there's only one team I could ever find that made the finals with none of that. No
What team?
player, no All-Star, no All-NBA, nothing.
What team was that?
99 Knicks.
Oh, that's because there was no All-Star game.
Oh, that's true.
But there was no All-Star game that year. But they didn't have an All NBA or All Defensive player, correct? Is what you're stating? But they were an 8th seed, correct?
Yes.
That lucked up and got and made a run to the NBA Finals. So you got the Knicks, the 99 Knicks.
It was a shortened season, yeah, obviously. So
yeah, it was a short season as well. We forget about that season. Now that's a good research by you.
Yeah.
Again, but there was no All-Star. There was no All-Star that year, so nobody was an All-Star that year. But there was no All-NBA, no All-Defensive team. And how many people consider that 99 team great besides Knicks team? Knick fans.
Yeah, no, I mean it's hard to find, like, especially like one team that has like sustained stuff. Like if we talk about the Pistons, like you're right, like didn't have like all defensive team, but like if you examine that team a little bit more, like Bill Laimbeer was 10th in rebounds per game, 3rd in defensive boards. He was 3rd in overall defensive win shares. John Sally was 4th in defensive box plus minus. They had 2 top 15 overall rebounders in Rodman and Laimbeer. Isaiah Thomas was 7th in assists. 3 players.
88?
88. They had 3 players in the top 20 in terms of defensive rating. They had Rick Mahorn, Laimbeer, and John Sally.
Oh, you said okay.
Yeah, Rodman finished top 10 in DPOI. So like, yeah, they weren't like making these teams, but they were just so cerebral. Like overall, it was like one of those rare instances where like they weren't being recognized, but they were just such a team dynamic, and they were good, not great at a lot of things, and like that came together.
Did you go check what the Bulls were that year?
The Bulls.
Did you go check what? Did you go check what the Bulls were that year? That's the question.
No, the Bulls,
did you go find out how good were the Bulls? Because defensively, really the Bulls were good.
Bulls, they had the best defense in the league, and obviously Mike had that insane year, but you know, it was like.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there, buddy. Yeah, Mike was number 1 in DPPM. Oh well, Mike, we already know that. We don't want to. We're not here to discredit Michael Jordan. Yeah, we're not here to discredit Michael Jordan in that sense. Michael Jordan was only making $840,000 in 1988. Oh, Michael Jordan. But either way, these are the ways that, again, even when we talk about those teams back then, right? That's what people talk about, right? They say Jordan didn't have any all-stars, right? They don't mention the production. They don't mention that Jordan had a double-double guy in Charles Oakley.
Yeah.
Right? They don't mention that, right? They don't mention he had a championship experienced point guard in Sam Vincent. They don't mention that. They don't mention how he had, like I said, 5 guys that were top 10 picks in the last 4 or 5 drafts on that team, and they were a young upcoming team, right? Nobody ever mentions that, because at the end of the day, they didn't have no all-stars. They didn't have nobody to everybody's mind. But everybody uses all-stars and everything, and that's why we used to always bring up graphs like this. Well, shit, Jordan didn't have all-stars then, but look what Jordan was running with in the NBA. Look how much help Michael Jordan had.
No, it's exactly. I mean, it's like you don't need to have these guys on first team. Like these guys are just recognized amazing defenders too. Like, I mean, obviously, when you have like Pippen and Jordan on the same team, was like, and they're like arguably 2 of the top defenders like in their primes of all time, like on the same team for that consistent like it's gonna be tough to beat them, especially if you build around them even pseudo confidently, and so that was what was happening. So
yeah. But that's my point, right? The caliber of players, not the results. Because you were saying you're not going to go off of the results. No, the results are predicated on who they're playing against. If we're asking who's the better team, and then we line them up, and like I said, if I give you a team that has 2 All-NBA players and 3 All-Defensive players on their roster with 2 All-Stars, there's no way you're going to sit here and tell me a team that only has 1 All-Star and 1 All-NBA player and 1 All-Defensive player could even compare. You're not going to want that. You're not going to want Barkley and Marley. You're going to want Jordan, Pippen, and Horace Grant. On top of all of that. That's what the same way people always say, you're going to want Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh, no matter who they go up against. Yep. You can put an all-star team up against the big Heat, a big 3 Heat, and they're still going to be favorite.
Yeah. I mean, you had like another example. It's like 98 Jazz, right? Malone he was the All-NBA player there. And the Jazz swept Lakers, had 4 Hall of Fame or 4 All-Stars, and they were rated higher offensively and defensively that year than the Jazz. They also beat the Spurs, who had 2 players who both finished top 10 in MVP voting that year. and they all made the All-Star defensive team. So the Jazz were probably one of the more cohesive teams of all time because they were going through these teams they had no business beating on paper. So most of the 90s, but
yeah, I mean, but they still had the duo of Karl Malone and with the way the game was being played back then, it fit right into what Utah was doing. That's why they were so successful in the late 90s, because the game slowed down to a halt, which fit perfect with what they wanted to do. So nobody else can score, so they can sit there and dribble until they get a basket, and they were efficient at that. So, I mean, but even if let's just take it here, right, Travis? Let's take it here to ESPN's top 50 greatest teams of all time, right? And who faced those type of teams? Obviously, we know, like I said, LeBron James faced the most teams under those circumstances, and Wilt Chamberlain. You can see there. We always explain that to people. But all these teams are going to be the same category. A lot of these teams are not going to be, like you said, the top teams on either defensive rating or offensive rating, but they all have, I guarantee you, have all NBA players, all stars, and all defensive players on their rosters for the teams that are eligible to have all defensive players.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge difference too between like having a great season, like 07 Cavs, right, with only LeBron, and then beating a better team in a 7-game series who have these advantages. But yeah, I mean, crazy 14 Spurs, Warriors. So, yeah, LeBron was going through the gauntlet, especially in the finals. I mean, there's no denying that.
He faced 5 of the top 25 teams on ESPN's list.
Yeah. Shout out Wilt, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Now look, you can see on Jordan's behalf, right? You have the 89 Piston team. Guess what? The 89 Piston team had 2 All-NBA players and an All-Star. The 1990 Pistons team had 2 all defensive players and an All-Star. And I think the 91 team, I know the 92 team had 3 All-Stars. That I know. Because Joe Dumars, Rodman, and Isaiah Thomas made the All-Star in 92, but Jordan didn't face them in 92. But in 91, I think they just had one All-NBA, one All-Defensive player, and I think Joe Dumars made an All-NBA in one of those years as well. But obviously, you can see here, these are the guys and all the teams that they face. But when you look at, again, like we always tell you, the All-NBA, the All-Defensive team, all of that matters. We've always counted those things, and even the All-Stars. We've always told people about All-Stars. We just say that LeBron James has also faced the most All-Stars as well. So even if you want to say he's had the most All-Star teammate help, which he has had a lot of, but he still doesn't have the, he still played against the most All-Stars in general. Shout out to you, Aaron, another GOAT James Kingdom member. What's good, y'all? We having fun here. We talking. So you said the 1999 New York Knicks was the only other team that we could consider as a great team or that made the finals that didn't have an All-NBA player.
The only team I could find, and like I obviously I had limited time to do this research, but the only team I could find that didn't have any player that was decorated with any accolade whatsoever.
Didn't win
didn't even have some success. Yeah, nothing.
All right, so let's go to 1999 New York Knicks. San Antonio won the championship that year. We all know that. That's for sure. So let's go to who made the All-NBA team that year. So the All-NBA team was Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd, Karl Malone, and Alonzo Mourning. That's the All-NBA first team. Then Tim Hardaway, Grant Hill, Shaq, Gary Payton, and Chris Webber were on the second team.
Give me that second team over anybody ever.
Yeah, that's a good team. Then you got
that third team.
Kevin. Oh, I know. Yeah, Kevin Garnett, Antonio McDyess, Akeem Olajuwon, and John Stockton. Then the all-defensive team was Tim Duncan, Jason Kidd, Karl Malone, Alonzo Mourning, Scottie Pippen, and Gary Payton. So Scottie Pippen was still making all-defensive first teams, not even as a Chicago Bull player. Then you have the second team.
P.J. Brown, Eddie Jones, Dikembe, and Theo Ratliff.
And Theo Ratliff. So nobody on the New York Knicks actually did anything. So let's see who led the league in steals and all that other stuff. So the guy who led the league in points that year was Allen Iverson. So he was the scoring champ. The rebound champ was Chris Webber, oddly. I didn't know Chris Webber won a rebounding title. Shout out to Chris Webber.
Underrated.
The assist leader was obviously Jason Kidd. Steals leader was Kendall Gill. Shout out to Kendall Gill. I used to like him. Pause. He used to play for the Charlotte
He was on
Hornets.
those crazy Nets teams.
Yep, and obviously the blocks leader that year was Alonzo Mourning with 3.9 blocks per game. But yeah, nobody on New York actually accomplished anything, but they did run through the playoffs and make it all the way to the NBA Finals. So the New York Knicks that year, there was only, 60 games played that year. The New York Knicks won 27 games, so they were 27-23. They were the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference with a 54% winning percentage. The first round, they beat them. That was the year that the Ray Allen shot. Damn. I mean, not the Ray Allen shot, the Allen Houston shot. Oh, man. Damn, you just took me down memory lane, man. I can't stand you today, Travis. Forget you. Then they swept Atlanta, which I guess had Mookie Blaylock and Mutombo on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was like deep field line Mutombo too, or whatever.
Yeah, they had Mutombo, Mookie Blaylock, Steve Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, they were all right. They didn't have a great team.
Steve Smith is a baller.
Yeah, and then let's go to the Eastern Conference Final. Oh, they beat the Pacers, who also choked against the Bulls just the year prior. Oh my God, Reggie Miller is a bum. Again, nobody tells me. Reggie Miller averaging 16 points per game in this series. Oh my God, that is horrible. 16, shooting 36% from the field, and no one ever talks about that. Reggie Miller was shooting 36% from the field, averaging 16 points versus a Knicks team that had no All-NBA player, no All-Defensive player on their roster. This is horrible. Bunch of choke jobs, just like Larry Bird and Michael Jordan in 1988. Then against the San Antonio Spurs, a real team said, man, y'all can't let the Knicks win nothing. They whoop on the Knicks badly 4-1. And
they're not beating Duncan and Robinson.
No, I know.
Zero chance.
Out here averaging 27 and 14 with 2 blocks on 54% shooting from the field. The Knicks could not handle them. But the Knicks did have...
Shout out to Allen Houston, though.
Yeah, they did have Latrell Sprewell and Allen Houston balling that year, and that's what made them go on that run. They went on a crazy run. But again, nobody says the New York Knicks is one of the greatest teams of all time, Travis.
Well, of course not.
Nobody. Nobody.
When you talk about greatest teams of all time, though, you have to, it's like, how are you? Like the Warriors, if they wouldn't have won in like 17, what, even with all that manpower, would they still be the greatest team of all time?
How are they not going to win? Who was going to beat them?
Not LeChoke, that's for sure.
Oh my God, you called him LeChoke. No, you didn't do that. Talking about the LeChoke and all this other stuff. We talked about LeBron James facing those type of teams and things of that nature. So even when like I said, I brought up the All NBA and All Defensive competition. This is not even updated as well. I think this is up 2023, after the 2023 NBA season. But as you can see, LeBron James faced more teams that have 2 All NBA players. Jordan faced more teams that had 2 All Defensive players on the roster, but Jordan always had Pippen with him majority of those series. LeBron's faced more teams that had more All NBA players on their roster than the teams that he played for.
Yeah.
LeBron. Yeah. And remember I told you the no All NBA players versus no All NBA players. Let me see number. This is a little bit. I forgot what I was doing, but if you look all the way at the bottom, it's kind of small. It shows you what their records are versus teams that have no All NBA player or no All Defensive player on their roster. Oh, that's what that means. No All League players. So when it says versus no All League, that means they had no All NBA players, no All Defensive players on the roster. LeBron's faced 9 teams like that. He's 9-0. Jordan's faced 8 teams like that, and he's 7-1. That one team he lost to was the 1988 Detroit Pistons, y'all.
Obviously the most underrated team in history.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, again, I'm just bringing up facts when you come up to these teams. Again, I also created a graph to show that this was the ultimate help versus comp graph. And this was basically predicated off of how many All NBA players they went up against, how many All Defensive players they went up against, how many All Stars, Defensive Player of the Year, 6th Man of the Years, players that averaged 20 points per game in the season or had 10 rebounds per game or 10 assists per game in the season, or 2 steals or 2 blocks in the season. guys who either led the league in rebounds or whatever. So if you look on the left side, the top part is the help. This is the amount of help Jordan had. So he had a player make 6 All-NBA 6 times. He had an All-NBA teammate 6 years. He had an All-Defensive teammate for 9 years. And he had not 9 years. These are the amount of All-NBA and All-Defensive players. Obviously, LeBron James has more help in the All-Stars. LeBron James has way much more All-Star help. But if we look at the comp, LeBron James just faced more All-NBA players, faced more All-Defensive players, faced way much more All-Stars, more Defensive Player of the Years, they faced the same amount of six-mans of the years. He faced more teams that had 20-point per game scores. Jordan did face more teams that had more 10 rebounders and assist players, but LeBron faced more players that led in steals. But he definitely faced more guys that actually led the league. He faced more scoring title winners, more rebound champs, more assist champs, more steals champs, more blocks champs. And Jordan had players who actually did these things. Like I said, LeBron never had a six-man of the year teammate. Jordan had that. Jordan had a rebounding champ leader for 3 years in his NBA career. LeBron never had that. Jordan had a guy lead the league in steals. LeBron never had that. Jordan had 6 seasons out of his 15 seasons where he had a guy average 10 rebounds or more. LeBron's only had it twice in his NBA season. Now you got to add Anthony Davis this year to it, I believe. That'll be 3 years. But this is what I was always doing, Travis. And like I said, I was using the simple graph that you see on the top. And when you take all of these stuff, these are the teams LeBron's faced in his career. I stopped at 20 because LeBron's made the playoffs so many times I couldn't even put all the times and all the teams he made the playoffs in.
Yeah, I mean, I think LeBron is. I mean, I don't think there's any question that overall he's faced like the toughest. I mean, the toughest competition, and like especially like you said, like as far as especially like the best teams, you know, with the best players. Especially like because he came in and was making the time where like there are these crazy dynasties that he had to face like, every year, like the Spurs, you know, he had to get past them, the Warriors, just like things like that. I mean, I think for my money, like the toughest stretch of championships, like won or playoffs, I think that was like the early 2000 Kobe Lakers. And I'm like, not in terms of like how much help he had, but like who they were facing, just. I mean, just because of the Western Conference such a war, but I think LeBron has faced the toughest finals competition by far. I don't think it's even close. Like those Warriors teams are
him and Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, I mean, because Wilt was.
He faced the Celtics. He faced the Celtics and the Knicks teams.
It's that team, but I mean, like LeBron was going through like when the Celtics were all time, you know, in 2000, things like that. He had to go through. Like obviously the Warriors, he had to go through. Like he just, I mean, people like to harp on his conference, but I think that was it was. I don't think it was at its best when he first entered the league, but it got better and better and better progressively, and now he's in the West.
Yeah, you know? I mean, here is how I did this. Right, basically, if you had any one of these categories on your team, I just added it to your team, whatever it was. So if we go through, the green basically means that the team that LeBron was facing was better than his team. The red means LeBron was facing a team that was inferior to his team, and the white is just neutral, meaning they shared the same amount of accolades and achievements. And as you can see, early on in his career, 06, 07, 08, 09, he faced a lot of teams that were just better than his team. The only teams that he faced that wasn't as good as his team was in 09 when he faced the Detroit, who had 1 All-Star in 2009, and he faced the Atlanta in the second round. They only had 1 All-Star and 1 20-point per game score. But then he goes up against Orlando, who had 2 All-Stars, even though one of their All-Stars, well, they actually had 3 All-Stars that year, and he faced 2 of them in the playoffs. But then they also had Dwight Howard, who was All-NBA, All-Defensive, Defensive Player of the Year, led the league in blocks, led the league in rebounds, averaged over 20 points per game.
Yeah, he was carrying that team too.
Yeah, and, you know what I'm saying? So exactly. So he had all those things. And again, that year, LeBron James was the MVP. He was the all-defensive, all-NBA player, and he had an all-defensive teammate, and he was an all-star. But he didn't have nobody that averaged double digits in rebounding. Nobody averaged double digits in assists. Nobody had 2 steals. Nobody had 2 blocks per game. So he didn't really have that much help outside of that. And Dwight Howard had some guys as well. We know LeBron James lost that. Then the next year was the same thing. He faced Chicago. They were better than Chicago, so he beat Chicago. Then he faced Boston, who had the 3 All-Stars, the 1 All-Defensive Player, the Steals title winner, right? And obviously he lost that series. But then when he went to Miami, as you can see, a lot of the times his teams were better. Until he faced OKC, which everybody knew that OKC was considered favorite. Everybody was saying that can LeBron and the Heat actually win? And they actually won that series. They had 2 All-Stars, 2 All-NBA players, 1 All-Defensive Player on their team. They had the scoring champ, the block leader, the 6th man of the year, and James Harden, 2 players who averaging over 20 points per game.
Yeah, that was prime Durant too.
Exactly.
Oh.
So and then next year in 2013, which I always tell people, 2013 Heat, from there on out, the 2013 Heat and the 2014 Heat were all good teams, and they were better than every team that they ever faced. But they lost to San Antonio because San Antonio was on a vengeance from losing the first year prior.
Yeah.
But then when LeBron went to Cleveland, the quote unquote super team, he was facing teams that were better than him. Like they like to get mad. That Chicago team had 4. That Chicago team had 2 All-Stars. And I believe that was Paul Gasol and Jimmy Butler, if I'm correct, that year. Plus, they had an All-NBA player. Then, like I said, then he went up against that Atlanta team who had 4 All-Stars on their roster, although nobody on that team made an All-NBA or All-Defensive team.
Yeah, that was a crazy type situation. Like
that was a weird. They have 4 All-Stars, but none of them make the All-NBA or the All-Defensive team. That is completely weird.
Yeah, it's like never gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. That's why, and to win 60 games.
Yeah, they were a good team.
But then again, he faced the Warriors, who had the league MVP, 2 All-NBA players, 2 All-Defensive players. Because basically, and that's 4 separate players. Because you have Clay and Steph as All-NBA players, and then you have Draymond and Bogut as All-Defensive players. So that's 4 players on their team, plus to having the 2 All-Stars, the league MVP. We already know the 2016 Warriors. So again, look, these are all the teams LeBron faced and how good they was and things of that nature. And that's why I don't know how people say he faced the Eastern Conference with all these teams. There's all these, like I said, all these accomplishments. I've always gone off of accolades and achievements.
Yeah, I think a lot of where that narrative comes from is that like they weren't winning championships. Like no team was like from 2000 up until like 2012 or whatever. Really, like how many times did anyone except for like someone from the West win? Like the Pistons once, and otherwise it was like the Lakers, the Spurs, and like they were just getting destroyed.
Yeah, and the NBA didn't have too much parity till recently. Yeah. I mean, if we go back 40 years, it's Lakers, Boston, Sixers, Bulls, Rockets, Miami, Detroit.
Well,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like San Antonio. Like, it's not that many teams that are winning it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why people say they love the dynasties. But then again, like I said, we've always done this to compare it to Michael Jordan and his competition. And if we look here, this is what Jordan was facing throughout the playoffs. Like we always tell y'all, Jordan had way much more help than anybody in NBA history. All these teams in the red were teams that had less than Michael Jordan's team. Even the 1988 Detroit Pistons. They're up there. They're up there. They again, like I said, in 1989, the Cavs were kind of equal to the Bulls, which was kind of weird because even like I said, the Cavs were always having 3 All-Stars for some reason. They always putting Mark Price and them Doherty and them into the All-Star game, right? But like I said, after all of that, even in '89, the '89 Pistons had 1 All-Star and 2 all defensive players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, well, Jordan, I said this like I think a few weeks ago. He's the only player ever to have won, I think it was like at least 4 chips, where he had a teammate finish in top 5 in MVP and DPOY alongside him, and that was Pippen doing that. So it's like nobody's had that type of like or that consistent of a teammate. I mean, you could say he definitely had the most help ever. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Again, it's not just having the teammate. Yeah. It's also who you're going up against. Because again, you can't say Larry Bird has help versus Michael Jordan in 1986. There's no comp. He doesn't have help. He's that team's inferior. You only need help versus superior competition.
Well, that's
why y'all say Jordan had nobody, because to face the Boston Celtics, he needs help.
Yeah, he does.
What kind of, you know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say. So that your help is predicated on your competition. So the fact that that Bird had way much more help than Jordan had is the same reason why Jordan was winning, because he had way much more help than everybody else. That's why his team was always inferior. We look down the line from 1990 on, 90, 91, 92, 93, 96, 97, 98, all of Jordan's playoff runs, his team has always been better than all the teams he's faced. This Eastern Conference was garbage throughout the 90s, but these guys were praised because supposedly Ewing's a formidable opponent. Damn about no Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing was barely doing anything. He had a great season in 1989. Man, nobody want to hear this shit about these bumps,
there were some goodies. I mean, there were some teams that had, I think, like, were obviously, if Mike wasn't there and the Bulls, like, I think they could have seen some, like, you have the Shaq. I mean, you have the Magic, you have the Heat there. They were good in the later part of the 90s.
Well, no, the Magic went up against Houston and lost, right? So
sure.
let's just say the Pistons go up against the Lakers in 1991. Who wins that series, the Pistons or the Lakers? Right? So it's still the Pistons or the Lakers. Then in 1992, right, the Bulls lose to who in the Eastern Conference Finals? The Knicks?
The Bulls in 92?
Yeah, in 92, who did the Bulls face in the Eastern Conference Finals? Or they faced the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the Cavs. So do the Cavs beat Portland?
Let's see. I forget exactly. I think they still had a great roster in 92, right? Yeah. Because I was like looking at the. I was looking at the.
I said it. He's a bum. Don't let me go get. Don't let me go get Patrick Ewing's information. Don't let me start pulling up his 90s numbers. Again,
Patrick Ewing.
And these guys were great for the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
What? Patrick Ewing for the 90s. Let's look at what Patrick Ewing was doing for the 90s. So from 1990 to 1999, Patrick Ewing. That's way to go now. But again, all right? So you think Cleveland beats Portland?
In 92?
All right. So from 1990, Patrick. Go ahead.
Oh no. I mean, if you look at their like 92 Cavaliers, like they were okay defensively. I mean, they were like, top 10 up. I mean, they could beat them, but I mean, I think Portland was a well-rounded or more well-rounded team, especially defensively. If you examine the roster, they had proven better defenders, and obviously, I think Clyde Drexler at that point was better than anyone on the Cavs roster. I mean, Brad Daugherty, Larry Nance was already 32. I mean, they were still a good team, but no, I don't think that they beat Houston or Portland in a 7-game series.
Okay. So back to Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing between 1990 and 1999 averaged 24 points per game and 11 rebounds on 50% shooting. Played over 700 games. Then he gets to the playoffs averaging 21 points and less than 11 rebounds, about 10 rebounds per game, just a little bit over 10 rebounds per game, and shoots under 50%. Again, he was a bum.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, they didn't bring up Will Chamberlain. It's not that. He's a bum. I care about that. This dude's a bum. He was a bum. His team, he was great because they force-fed him the ball, making him take shots, and that's why the Knicks lost a lot. Because he had no help. He couldn't do it by himself. He had nobody to help him do anything.
That's true.
It was just Patrick Ewing. They force-feed him the ball, let him shoot the ball all day long. Patrick Ewing was he was top 5 in MVP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, but never was top 3.
Yeah, I mean, Ewing was fantastic defensively. I mean, he had a decent jumper.
89 was his year. Was it?
Yeah,
89?
I think that he was. I don't think he's underrated. 90. I think he was appropriately rated, but I think he did have. Those teams were lacking. Like, they needed some better support for him. Like, just another scorer,
They never had enough to beat the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
So then in 93,
his best help was in 99. Arguably.
In 93, so in 93, do the Knicks beat the Phoenix Suns? So again, I guess we got Clyde Drexler winning a championship. We got Barkley winning a championship, or Patrick Ewing winning a championship. Right? And then in 96,
I think they could beat the Suns because the Suns were dog water defensively, but that team was just so up tempo and they could shoot, they were fast breaking before it was cool. I mean, in the 90s. I mean, they were.
I mean, I showed y'all footage of how they played in the 90s.
Yeah,
That
they
shit
had
was
like
trash.
8 players in double figures.
That shit was trash.
So,
Hot garbage. I
mean,
got pictures of Patrick Ewing sucking in the finals.
Those are some like good matchups to think about, though. I mean, what if Mike and the Bulls were out of the picture? Though I think it would have looked a way different way. I mean,
it's not my. If Scottie Pippen wasn't there, that's what you got to say. If Scottie Pippen wasn't there,
sure. I mean,
Don't
Pippen was
start
obviously the best. The best consistent second man of all time. I mean, if you want to say that.
Here we go. This was Michael Jordan's greatest competition.
Is that 99 Ewing?
No, that's 1994 NBA Finals.
94 Ewing? Oh, so Ewing was just choking? No.
35.7%.
35 points per game or percentage. That's LeBron type numbers right there.
That's at that rim, right? Isn't that what y'all say? These
5 blocks? Damn.
5 blocks? Yeah, because nobody could score. Everybody's a bum. They keep going right at the rim at 7-footers like idiots. They can't even finish without a 7-footer there. And then there's 7-footers there, and they're like, well, let me still try to go up against a 7-footer. Like an idiot. That's like an idiot.
Yeah,
but Michael Jordan. I don't want to hear that shit. I watched that whole series.
Ewing. Come on.
Watch that whole series in just in disgust. I'm like, y'all just force feeding Patrick Ewing to take a shot over Hakeem Olajuwon. Yeah, that's why he shot 36%. Because they don't have no offense, they don't have no players, they couldn't do nothing. Just shove it down to the big man and hopefully he can make a shot over one of the greatest defenders ever.
I don't think that 91 Magic was Mike's best competition. No. That's either the.
He said Ewing got a case for top 10 all time. Where?
No, he doesn't. What?
How? And they had a nerve to disrespect Scottie Pippen.
Tell us, Steve.
Nasty work from you, Zesty Jeffries. Nasty work.
Mr. Baller, 91 Lakers was not his best. Like, he was either the 93 Suns or the 96 Sonics. Maybe even the 98 Jazz. But, like.
Hey, listen, man. We always bring facts here at GOAT James Kingdom. Man.
Magic drugged that team to the finals.
This is what Jordan was running out here winning championships with. All defensive, all NBA player. He has the most seasons with a player that made the all NBA and all defensive team than anybody in NBA history. Only him and Shaq. And we all know why Shaq had that. Shaq had to play with Kobe and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. So what
had the most help. That's what I don't understand. So let me put the link up so if anybody want to join us.
What is Magic being second in MVP? No one said Magic wasn't amazing that year. It just wasn't. That team wasn't Jordan's best finals competition ever by any measurement.
No,
just Jordan's so you don't watch.
Jordan's best finals competition probably would have been the 93. I mean, the 93 Suns were good. The 92 Blazers were good, and the 96 Sonics, one of those teams. I like the 97 Jazz, but I just don't think that compared to what that Bulls team had, they were really confident.
The problem was like that team, Jordan's Bulls, especially like when him and Pippen were prime, like they were always so good defensively. They could afford to have off series offensively, like or games like they should have lost. They were winning because they would clamp down. Because you're right, a lot of those teams didn't have 3 or 4 or 5 guys who were threats to go off for 30 a night, and they could hone in on them and clamp them down. Like I think the Suns probably, like just because of their overall depth, relatively speaking to some of the other teams there, may have been the toughest one. Took them 3 teams took them 6 games, right? So
yeah, it is. So you see what I have here, Travis, and I put the link up for anybody who wants to join us. Again, this is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. I do this every Friday night right here on the GOAT James Kingdom platform. Shout out to everybody that's also watching us on FYF Sports Debate. Shout out to Lamont and them over there. Everybody that's popped up over here from News Break. Is that News Break Room? I think that's what the name of the site is. So shout out to everybody that's watching us there. Again, this is another great show on a Friday night. They're upset, but again, you are more than glad to post a comment, or you can show up and hit the link, bro. Express your feelings. This is an open show. As you can see, Travis and I are talking. Let's see what Herm got to say here. Style of play, regular season and postseason record matter when evaluating great teams. I mean, yeah, we could bring up playoff records as well. I never denounced that. I never dismissed team records, to be honest with you. In fact, in the NBA history, you know, we always talking about how can we determine stuff, what makes things like truly a determining factor. I've always told people if you win 65 games or more, you have an opportunity of winning an NBA championship. If we go back in NBA history and look at all the teams that won 65 games or more, majority of them, 74% of them are champions. And the only reason some of them aren't championships is because some teams like the 2016 Spurs lost to the 2016 Warriors, who both had won over 65 games. Or the 2018, and the 2018 Rockets lost to the 2018 Warriors, obviously. And they won 65 games. And obviously LeBron won 66 games and lost. The Mavs in 07 won 67 games and lost.
One team that I always say, this is like my favorite team of all time, is the 2000 Blazers. They had one All-Star, and again, that was Rasheed Wallace, right? But that team was so gritty.
Scotty, wasn't Scotty all defensive team in 2000?
No.
You sure?
It was not. Yeah, looking right at it.
I could swear Scotty.
No, you're right. He rated second team. My bad. So he was
Scott,
second
that
team.
was his last season as all defensive.
Yeah, last season there, but like that team was, they were losing they lost to prime Shaq, right? And like one of the deepest Lakers teams of all time.
And Kobe.
But that team was just like so good. If you watch them play, they were like, they moved the ball amazingly. Them and the Kings, like for those 3 years, they were like, they had shooters. They could like do inside. They were a pleasure to watch basketball, like play basketball. Steve Smith, Rasheed Wallace, like Bonzi Wells, Pippen out there. So like it was, that team I think was insane and would have like been dominant those few years if the Lakers weren't there. But like I couldn't get enough of that team, or the like shout out to like the 01, 02 like Kings too. Same kind of thing.
Yeah, they were cheated. I mean, listen, man. There's a lot of great teams based off of chemistry, right? I talk about this all the time with Chilltown. Shout out to Chilltown, and y'all should go subscribe to Chilltown Hoops if you like basketball. Is that when you have a team with chemistry, when you have a team that knows how to play with one another, guys understand their roles and they play well with one another, that can take you farther than having a bunch of stars or a bunch of high talented players on your roster. And that shows with team like the 2000 Blazers, right? That shows with like the 2004 Pistons. You know, it shows with the 2020 Heat, right? Just a group of guys, even though we had an all NBA player and an all defensive player in Bam and Jimmy that year. But still, it's just the idea of coming together as a team, playing like a team. But would you be surprised, Travis, if I told you none of Bill Russell's Celtics teams ever won 65 games in a season or more?
I mean, I would be surprised, but I mean, at the same time, I could see it because, you know, I don't think that they were. You could say they were built for the playoffs, right? Especially because of the shortened, like their talent was just overwhelming. But I think they still averaged like 57, 58 wins or something per season at least.
Oh yeah, no, they were winning 60 games consistently. They won a lot of 60 win seasons, but like I said, 65 was a barometer. When I was doing my research about wins, because you know people love to bring up 60 win teams. Like I said, if you win 65 games or more in an NBA season, you have a 75% chance of winning the NBA championship based off of the raw data. 21 teams have done it. 15 of them are champions. When you go to 64 teams or less, it goes from 75% to like 33%. It legitimately cuts your 33% of the teams that won 64 games or more are NBA champions. Like that's a drastic drop just by one game. By one, one game.
Consistency. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, these are all the teams in NBA history that won 65 games or more. And as you can see, the 90s was as weak as all teams because only the Chicago Bulls could win 65 games or more. They did it 3 times.
Well,
every other decade had multiple teams do it, right? Besides the 90s. And obviously the 2010s had the most teams do it. Because again, the 2010s was one of the greatest era ever. It's only going to be challenged by this decade. So again, these are all, and again, it's funny that y'all say the same narratives But this is why GOAT James Kingdom was invented, because every narrative that you guys claim and every little nitpicking thing that we do is predicated off of zesty Jeffrey logic. And we keep reminding you that here in GOAT James Kingdom, we are the reason why zesty Jeffries are no longer going to be able to talk basketball. We have marked, identified, and cataloged all zesty Jeffries. And you know where they go, right, Travis?
Welcome to Zesty Jeffrey Cemetery, where we have identified, marked, and cataloged all Zesty Jeffries for their final resting spot. No longer will you hear Zesty Jeffrey logic like 6-0 and the toughest era ever. This is where all of that ends, right here at Zesty Jeffrey Cemetery. Subscribe to the GOAT James Kingdom channel and also check out the GOAT James Kingdom membership.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, All Gravy, write it down. Take a picture. I don't give a fuck.
Also, All Gravy, narratives aren't these facts that he's showing right here on the graph. These are facts. Narrative would be something like, so this player was trash or only won because of this player. Those are narratives, right? Or something like that. Like it's something that can't be proven.
I got a narrative for you. Michael Jordan ain't win shit without Scottie Pippen. That's what I got. I got something for your ass.
He definitely didn't win without.
He didn't win without Pippen. Look at all these series LeBron James be winning without no top 75 help. Let's bring up our first speaker guest here. Shout out to you, West Coast. I think this is Reaper. What up, Reaper? Is this Reaper?
What's good, bro? Yeah, that's it. This is, bro. Happy Friday. We out here, bro.
We out here hurting zesty Jeffrey feelings.
Bro, here's a sweeter thing about LeBron. It's the greatest run of longevity, consistency, and durability of all time. That's his claim to fame. That's his GOAT status. That's why I think he's the GOAT. And that's why I've actually said recently that once he retires, we're going to see and look back, not just when he retires, but when Curry, KD, and the rest of his competition, we're going to look back and we're going to say they were better than we could have given them credit for in real time. We're going to see how much we didn't give them the credit for all of those players being so great in real time.
Yeah.
From Steph Curry, it's like not even just that. People don't realize this. Like talking like KD is in year 17, still putting up all NBA numbers after he tore his Achilles. We don't credit the competition that Braun has had because they're not all done yet as much as we should.
LeBron has had better comp, All Gravy. We keep showing you the numbers. Even when they talk about team records, right? That's why they love bring up team records. Oh, Jordan faced the most 60-win teams, and he's on. Yeah, because Jordan was better than all those teams. How many teams did Jordan beat had a better record than him compared to LeBron? Look at all these teams LeBron and James had beat him that were higher seeds. Jordan's never done this.
Like Braun beat a 7-foot elite level scorer from every place on the court in KD in the finals. And he beat the unanimous MVP at the peak of his powers, the player or one of the most impactful players of all time that completely changed the way basketball is played, not only in the league, but the world. He beat that guy at the peak of his powers.
That's all facts. These are all facts. LeBron James faced tougher competition because he's just in a greater NBA. They don't want to accept it. That's why I always said that they have to discredit. I'm gonna bring you up in a second here, Herm. Let me bring up Herm here, Reaper. I know you're both of y'all are members, but I want to give y'all an opportunity to speak at one time. So get your last take in so that we can bring up Herm, and I'll bring you back up after Herm.
Just my last thing, man, whether this is Braun's last year or next year, he has maybe 2 more. Enjoy it because it's coming to an end sooner than later. And we just witnessed the GOAT, at least in my opinion. But yeah, y'all have a happy Friday.
Facts. Yeah, no doubt, man. I stay in the background. I'll bring you back up, Reaper. So let me bring up Hollywood Herm in the building. Shout out to Hollywood Herm. Herm, why you always gotta try me, man? What I do to you today?
No, I mean, I think it's a lot of capital and a lot of agenda pushing due to the fact that how can you evaluate what's a great team or not. On one hand, when you got casual Jordan fans hit y'all with, oh man, Jordan got 6 rings. Y'all dumb it down to saying that's a team accomplishment. But when you guys evaluate what makes a team great, you guys use individual accolades and use individual accomplishments to determine a great team. So what's it gonna be? So end of the day, you can't pick and choose when to use individual accomplishments and accolades to determine what's a great team or not. So how you gonna say when a casual ass Jordan fan say, hey man, Jordan's 6-0, he got the 6 rings. Oh, that's a team accomplishment. But then you want to use the individual accolades to determine what's a great team or not. End of the day, it's quite a few teams that won championships that didn't have the star power, like the 79 Supersonics. Their only all-star was Gus Williams. That was the only all-star. But the Seattle Supersonics style of play and their defensive intensity made them a great team. That's why they did win the 79. So it's different other factors than breaking down individual accolades and how many all-stars or stars or all-NBA or all defensive guys to determine what's a great team or not. Because you could be a great defender and not make an all defensive team. You could be a great offensive player and not make an all NBA team. It happens. It happens all the time. So how do we be genuine when we actually break down what's a great basketball team or not? And what I'm hearing is like agenda pushing to center it right back around to the GOAT. It's a GOAT conversation instead of just really breaking down these teams, really breaking down what made these great teams special. We not doing that. Instead, we trying to discredit who we believe is not the GOAT or who's the GOAT to try to uplift one and bring down another to push an agenda. That's what I'm hearing. So I just want to hear when can we actually be honest and have a real conversation about how good teams are without trying to, man, this team to have a star power, so this team is not greater than the other. You can't judge it by that because it's different. A team can have a certain style of play that would trump any talented team ever. We've seen it all the time. The '04 Lakers with Carmelo, Gary Payton, Shaq, and Kobe. The Detroit Pistons style of play was the reason why they whooped their ass. It wasn't because they was more talented than the Lakers, but their style of play determined that series and made it difficult for a real talented Lakers team. So we got to be honest. We got to really like the Dallas Mavericks of 2011. That style of play was the reason why it made it difficult for the Miami Heat, even though they was top heavy. So we got to literally break it down for real, instead of using agendas to determine, this is why this player faced the most competition. That ain't how you evaluate great teams, bro. It's different ways to evaluate what's a great team or not.
Again, every team that you said here you just mentioned, have legitimate all-NBA or all-defensive players on their roster or an all-star on their roster.
The 79 Supersonics only had one.
They had an all-defensive player in Dennis Johnson, sir.
And they also had Jack
Sigma was an all-star. Yeah, Jack Sigma was an all-star, and Dennis Johnson was an all-defensive. Mind you,
they only had one all-star that year in 1979.
In 1979, Dennis Johnson was on the all-defensive team, sir. He was first-team all-defensive team.
I mean, I told you, I agree with that. But they only
so that's what I'm saying. So whether you want to say they're a great team or not, any great team we mentioned will have an all-NBA or all-defensive player on their roster, for guaranteed. Even the 2004, we talked about them before. Again, we're not talking talent level. I'm not saying because you didn't make the all-defensive team, you're not a great defender. I'm saying there are defenders that are greater than you. That's the point. There are players that are just better than you are. Now, when you brought up the 6 titles and the 6-0, here in Go James Kingdom, we never said, oh, that's a team accomplishment. We never say that. We just say 6 championships don't make Michael Jordan the GOAT. 6-0 don't make Michael Jordan the GOAT. That's what we always say. We never discredit championships. We never say that, oh, it's only a team accomplishment. You can't account it for a player's achievements and accolades. Players' accolades matter, including their championships. But also teams
determine what team is great or not.
No. Again, the way you determine teams is the caliber of player on the roster. That's how you do it. Like I always said, that's how everybody has always done it. I've never heard nobody say that Chauncey Billups and Richard Hamilton and Rasheed Wallace should be in the top 20 players of all time because they were part of one of the greatest teams of all time. Like
they are top 20 of all time players.
What?
Rip Hamilton's like the 5th best player of all time.
Even when we had Ben Wallace in our top 50, people bugged out. Like how?
Well,
like,
you and I have him
Wallace-
top 5 defender of all time.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
he's the top
yeah,
defender.
yeah. I have him as the second greatest defender outside of Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. So the thing is again, Herm, is that how do we measure it again? Because I got explained to these guys. So when we look at this 79, let's look at this 79 team that you brought up because they were actually a real good team. There were 22 teams in the NBA at this time in 1979, and the Supersonics won the NBA championship. They had the number one defense. They gave up the less amount of points per game, which was just under 104. They were 19th in total scoring. So they were one of the worst scoring teams in the league. But they had a +26 net rating because they had the number one rated defense and they had the 14th rated offense. They only won 48 games that year. So they were 5th in the league in most wins. But they did win the NBA champion, right? And like I said, their best player was Jack Sikma, right? Who only averaged, well, actually, no, their best player was Gus Williams. If y'all go by points. Yeah, they had Gus Williams, Dennis Johnson. Why did they say Dennis Johnson was an all-star? Did he play in the all-star game? What happened?
No, he did not. They're just going off his reputation. Like they don't.
No, that's what I'm wondering because he didn't. I'm looking. Let me see here in the West. He didn't. Oh no, he did play in the All-Star game. I guess he didn't get selected.
He didn't get
Dennis
selected.
Johnson was also an All-Star. Yeah, but he was in. But he played in the All-Star game.
Yeah,
I guess he wasn't selected because they don't have him as an All-Star. What's it called? When they go look at the All-Star team, he wasn't on the All-Star team. I can go back and look at it. But I did see Jack Sikma on the All-Star team. So again, this was actually one of the most underrated teams in NBA history. This was one of the most surprising champions in NBA history. I believe they beat the Washington Bullets in the NBA Finals. Yeah, they beat the Washington Bullets in 5 games. In 5 games. So that's what I'm saying. How do we rate this team? They're champions, right? They had the number one ranked defense. They had the number one defense. How do we compare them to a team like the 1989 Detroit Pistons, who did win an NBA championship? Let me bring that up. The 1989 Detroit Pistons, I believe, had the number one defense in basketball. Let me bring them up.
Well, shout out to last year's Orlando Magic team, who had the second best defense in the league with no all-defensive team selections.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about that, Herm, I think that's one of the first teams that ever was the number one seed on defense that won a championship, Herm.
Mm-hmm.
Because all right, let's go to this. The 1989 Detroit Pistons are NBA championships. They were second in defense. They were 16th in offense. Their net rating was +6, which was better than the Seattle Supersonics. They had 1 All-Star, 2 All-Defensive players on their roster, but they won the NBA championship. How do we determine which team was better, the 1989 Pistons or the 1979 Sonics?
I think how you break it down is a style of play. But here's the unique thing: two teams they somewhat was similar because they both had balanced offensive attacks. So like you never know who was gonna lead the team in scoring that individual game. They had different guys leading the way all the time. That's what made the Sonics unique. And the different thing about the Sonics as well, they was great in transition. They always push the ball. Once they get a stop, they up and they gone. And plus they created a lot of turnovers. That's why they was very great at transition, that 79 Supersonics. So that style of play was kind of ahead of its time because they always pushed the tempo and they create a lot of their offense off of turnover. So that's what is the unique thing about them. The Pistons, they had bench players that could drop 20 on any given night. So the Pistons bench was like a difference maker for them. And plus they always had great defenders on the court, even coming off the bench, like a John Sally, a guy that could disrupt the rim, protecting the rim. You had guys like Dennis Rodman, of course, that was very versatile. You could use on the perimeter, and also he could defend big men as well. Then you had Joe Dumars, of course, that was locked down. But then you got McGuire and all them that could drop buckets any given night. Even Joe Dumars would get hot on the occasion. And of course, Zeke, Zeke was a guy he was balanced. He was a balanced player. If they need him to be a playmaker, he'll do that. If they need him to be a scorer, he'll be a scorer. So, and Bill Laimbeer was a guy that stretches the floor. So he gave the Pistons the ability to give open lanes to the guards and to the perimeter players. So their styles kind of make them why they was a unique team, a great team around that era. So It's different ways to evaluate their greatness. So that's why I'm saying like it's kind of hard to just use individual accolades to determine that, because if you look at that 89, you look at that 89 run and even their 90 run, all the great teams that they had to go through, they had numerous all NBA players and all stars and all defensive players. They had to run through a lot of talent, but just their style of play and how they played, that's what made them unique and made them a difficult matchup for a lot of teams. That's why the Pistons went to 3 straight finals.
But with all that you said, Herm, you didn't answer my question. Everybody said you were cooking and you was explaining how great these team was, which again, they were both great teams. They're NBA champions. We're not denying anything that you said about them. You spoke nothing but facts about both teams. But you still didn't tell us which one was the better team. And if we're going to go off of, like you just said, how they play.
The Pistons are better team.
Okay, you're going to say that again. But like I said, that's predicated on your preference.
No,
right?
they had a deeper bench. They had a deeper bench. And they had more versatile defenders than the Seattle Supersonics.
So you go. So how you determining that off the stats, right? You have to have stats. Kinda. That's what I'm saying.
Mean,
like that's what
you can watch film.
How much film is on 89? How much film how many film do we have on 79? You
can look at the scatter reports. You can look at scatter reports on the different type of talent they had on the team without looking at the numbers as well. So it's different.
No, because if I do that, yeah, because
without going to the numbers.
I'll do like Mars say, man. If that's the case, the style of play, talent, I'm taking any team today. Ain't none of them teams can handle these guys and what these dudes are doing today. I'm taking the 25 Pistons over all of those teams, both of those teams. The 25 Pistons today with Jalen Duren and Kay Cunningham and Tobias Harris and them dudes out there with the way they play
Dennis
and how they run up and down the cut.
Cunningham lunch.
Get out of here.
Doing what? Cunningham. He'll eat his
that man
lunch.
ain't never seen a Kay Cunningham a day in his life. He wouldn't know what to do but foul.
No, he won't.
That's facts. Because that's what they would do.
Dennis Rodman was great moving his feet, beating players to spots, all that. Kay Cunningham doesn't even have an elite jump
players
shot.
Who can't dribble. Players who's not as fast as Kay Cunningham. What do you mean he can stay in front of who? Stay in front of Magic?
What made you determine that guys can't dribble? What made you determine that guys couldn't dribble back then?
By watching basketball. I seen the footage. I saw them dribble backwards. I seen them do it. I seen the best dribbler of that era. I seen the best dribbler of that era dribble the ball under his feet on the floor, bro. That shit is not working in 2025, bro. That shit was 30-something years ago, 40 years ago.
Yes, it will.
Hell no. Hell no.
Yes, it
them
will.
Dudes ain't have the ability to do none of the stuff Kay Cunningham could do, bro. Kay Cunningham come down that lane, it's a wrap for Rodman. What's Rodman gonna do but foul?
Dennis Rodman would eat his lunch, bro. Did he
Hell no. Hell no, man.
Kay Cunningham doesn't have the jump shot to make Rodman respect it. So Rodman is long enough and lengthy enough and athletic enough to give a little space to test any damn shot that Kay Cunningham puts up. And plus,
that's because Kay Cunningham's going up against better defenders.
I hope you realize Dennis Rodman one of the most intellectual defenders and intellectual players that ever played the game.
I don't care about his intellectualness. He's not standing in front of Kay Cunningham.
That's part of today's era problem that they don't have IQ. They got talent. They have
the IQ.
But the motherfuckers don't have high IQ. Why you think they needed LeBron, Curry, and Durant to save Team USA? Because all the young players we got are not high IQ guys.
No, because nobody wants to go play there. So LeBron don't win.
We wouldn't be.
We had to go get Embiid
without LeBron, Curry, and KD. We would not have won a gold medal.
If we get the best players involved, yes, we can beat them. Yes,
we won't win. We won't win.
Yes, you are going to win. LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and them are great. Yes, I give you that. But what are they doing in today's NBA? They're not the best players. Nah, we don't need them
to win that gold medal.
We needed them to show players to come play. Y'all come play. Y'all join this. Y'all take y'all summer off from making tens of millions of dollars by going overseas and doing all the stuff that they do with their brand, and just come play the game right quick. Just come do it right quick. That's all they asking. But Kay Cunningham averaged 25 points per game this year. He's shooting 45% from the field, 36 from the 3-point line. The boy's a beast. He's definitely rocking Rodman. Rodman is not stopping this.
Beast can be tamed. Beast be tamed all the time.
Yeah, with today's players, not with a 1989, 1990s player. Get out of here with that.
I mean,
that's what I'm trying. Yeah, that's by determination of that's why all the accolades and the stats matter. Because, like you said, if we go to 1989, Dennis Rodman was one of the greatest defenders of all time. Nobody on of the league at that time. Basically, he's basically one of the greatest defenders of the league. He's top 10. That's why he's on the all defensive team. Nobody on Detroit's making an all-star team. We see that, right? Who's gonna make an all NBA team? Who's gonna make an all defensive team? Nobody.
Zeke would be great in this era.
It shows you how great today's NBA is. Because again, we're not saying
be great in this era.
Zeke?
He actually be better than this era than he was in his own era.
Yeah, because Zeke is one of the few that could dribble.
Well, you had guys like Dantley, like Alex English, like
those guys
are automatic buckets in the 80s, and that's just not working in the 2000s.
Yes, it is.
They be automatic buckets today.
1-2 dribble pull-ups always work.
Not working.
Yeah.
Not working.
1-2 dribble pull-ups working any era.
They were shooting that shit at 39, 38%. That shit ain't working.
What you think DeMar DeRozan averaged 20 a game off of 1-2 dribble pull-ups in his whole career?
Who says DeMar? Y'all laugh at DeMar DeRozan and say DeMar DeRozan was not even competition.
No, we don't.
Yes, they do.
We'll
yes,
laugh
they
when
do.
they say ridiculous shit like
man, nobody. DeMar DeRozan never led the league in scoring. He's never been in the league scoring. None of that. No one want to hear that shit, man.
Game score.
No one want to hear that shit. No one want to hear that shit.
Yeah,
20 point per game score.
Somebody that's in this current era, though.
I'm not saying that. I'm dissing mid-range shooting. You guys make it seem like he's good because of mid-range shooting. No, DeMar DeRozan does a lot more than mid-range shooting. He's very talented. He could dribble, shoot off the dribble. He can do way more than Adrian Dantley could do.
One of his best gifts is 1-2 dribble pull-ups.
And again, it doesn't work in today's NBA. Where do you see it working at? It doesn't work today.
Don't you know Ja Morant got that shot every possession if he wanted?
Bro, the number one team in mid-range shooting in NBA right now is the Brooklyn Nets.
But you want to know
it's the Brooklyn Nets.
You want to know why Ja Morant don't take mid-range? Because he can't shoot.
Because he can get to the lane. Because I can get to the lane. I'm Ja Morant. Because I can get to the lane. You have to stop me from getting to the lane.
Guess what? By him always feeling like he can get to the lane, that's why we lose to teams like the Lakers. That's why we lose. That's why my Grizzlies lose, because he can't.
You lose to the team like the Lakers. Nah, because y'all can't stop the GOAT. That's the real truth. You poke the bear. That's what happens when you poke the bear.
AD dominate us. LeBron don't dominate us. AD.
AD is AD. You're talking about AD.
AD do dominate the Grizzlies. AD do dominate the Grizzlies.
At the end of the day, if we go off of what you're going by, today's NBAs are way better, and that's what would make these teams way better.
Opinion. I don't think.
But that's what you're saying. We have to base off opinion. You said we have to base off a play style. That's based off of your preference, what you like. That's what you're basically doing.
A lot of teams' play styles were translated in the era, bro. The 88 Pistons were translated in the era, bro. The 79 Supersonics were translated in the era, bro. The style of play was translated in the era. Yes,
no, it won't.
Yes, it will. You're being disingenuous because you're pushing them damn agendas. I won't. And I'm sick of you pushing them damn agendas, man.
It's not a set agenda. That team. I am talking the game. The game tells you that 30 years ago, it's not the same. It has nothing to do with LeBron. You guys keep attaching LeBron to today's NBA, Herm. It's today's NBA. Has nothing to do with LeBron. You guys love to make everything about LeBron. Go ahead, Herm. Get it off your chest, Herm. Hurry up, because I want you to hurry up so I can bring somebody else up. Please, hurry up and finish what you got to say, bro, because all you want to do is argue.
I got to go
anyway. All right, peace, Herm. Peace, Herm. Peace, Herm.
Herm is correct.
Herm is not correct. The 1979 Sonics do not translate. A team that had players averaging 15, 16 points per game is not translating in today's NBA, sir. Sorry. It's not happening. You're smoking crack.
You realize they would the only reason
smoking crack.
They would play differently back then as compared to now.
Who cares what they're going to play like? They can't. Oh, look, Mac just left now. Look, Mac, I was just about to bring you up. It doesn't matter. They're not good enough. They don't have the talent. They don't have that's what he's predicated off, the talent. And if they have to play today's NBA, they don't have no 3-point shooters. They don't have nothing. Like how are they gonna translate? You can't send none of those teams that have no 3 points in the era to today's NBA. None of them. Not Boston Celtics teams, not Wilt Chamberlain's team. None of those teams translate to today's NBA. Doesn't work. The same way if we took today's NBA players and had to put them in those, it doesn't translate. They would have to change their game. If they had to play in the rules of the 60s and the 70s, it would be a different NBA. They're not the same players. We're not going to have Cade Cunningham and them crossing over. We're not going to have Ja Morant carrying the ball because they're going to call that. You're not going to have Shaquille O'Neal backing anybody down. I just showed y'all this last week. Shaquille O'Neal would have to actually have real moves.
Sure. But if you took
if you want to talk basketball like that, that's basketball talk.
Yeah,
they don't
but
want to talk that.
That's different than saying that like teams that shot reasonably well from three from their day, couldn't, and they were given the green light today, wouldn't practice, and these players wouldn't be like excel at that, especially the talented players.
We can say that because they didn't
develop
excel at that.
shooters.
I'm not making up shit for nobody. I'm not making up nothing for nobody. I'm not making up nothing. That is making it up. If you were shooting 18% in 1979, to me, you're going to be shooting 18% in 2025. It's not going to change.
That's terrible.
Exactly. That's what they were shooting back then. They were shooting under 30% from the three-point line on average. They weren't great shooters from the three-point line. The same way Adrian Dantley was not a great mid-range shooter. We don't know what he shot from mid-range. We don't know what Adrian Dantley mid-range shooting is. We have highlights of him hitting a bunch of mid-range shots because that's where he took most of his shots from. But we don't know what his percentage is there. We don't know this.
Yeah. I mean,
those guys had to play one-on-one basketball. It was just them versus another guy. Today's NBA, you have to go against 4 other guys on the basketball court. The team plays defense. It's not just, oh, you got Adrian Dantley today. Make sure you stop Adrian Dantley.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
That's why none of that translates. It's all nonsense. You're not taking a shot
against 4 guys.
And it's not an agenda. It's not an agenda. It's not an agenda. That's why, again, I never compare these teams only by the caliber of player, how good you were compared to that year. That's the point.
Yeah, you can only compare the eras to each other.
That's it. He said nobody shot 18%. You sure about that? Are you sure nobody shot 18% from the three-point land, Ro? I went and watched your program the other day, Ro. You guys don't really do a good job speaking basketball. Your boy Jordan shot 18% from three-point land in an NBA season. Oh, he didn't even shoot that much. It didn't really matter. It doesn't matter. The shots that he took, he made 18% of them. That's what the percentage means. That's what it is. It's predicated on the shots you take to the shots that you make. I don't care if he took 100. Well, when he took 2, he was shooting 37%. Yeah, when the line was shortened. Again, you cannot tell me nobody who played in 1979 is a good three-point shooter. We don't have no evidence of how good somebody in 1979 shoots from 23 and 9 feet from the basketball court, from the rim. We don't know this.
Okay.
In fact, what was it? 1981 was the first year they accepted the three-point line?
Well,
am I correct,
check
Travis?
this out. It wasn't. It was 80, right?
Yes. 1980. Well, I'm in 1981. In 1981, only one NBA team shot over 30% from three-point land.
Well, here's a
Matter
team
of
like
fact, this is so long ago that it's the San Diego Clippers and the Kansas City Kings.
Well, I mean, what about like a team like the 94 Rockets where you had guys, like they had at least 5 players who shot at or above 40%.
They had some shooters.
Like they had a bunch of players who were consistently, obviously the attempts were way down, but that team could stretch the floor. It stands the reason
they added shooters. No, they added that team had shooters.
And that was like kind of their MO. Like they could bang against the team, but like they weren't predicated on that.
Yeah.
That team would. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't see a lot of iso ball, but
because nobody's we're gonna let Akeem Olajuwon cook for his 2 points. It's not gonna matter. We're gonna go down the court and hit a 3 in your mouth. We ain't doing none of that shit. We're not double teaming Akeem Olajuwon. We're gonna rotate everything. It's the different NBA. That shit that you just dribbling and passing, that shit's not gonna. He's never gonna get the ball in the post, so you're never gonna get an open 3-pointer. The only reason they were shooting good because they were getting open 3-pointers. You're not gonna get the open 3-pointers. We're gonna shut that down. You're not gonna get the ball to Akeem. You're not gonna rotate the pass. None of that shit's gonna happen. Y'all gonna have to actually physically shoot.
A lot of open threes today. A lot.
It's just not happening. Look, they were talking crap, right? Check this out. In 1981, there was only 8 players eligible to actually be reported enough for their 3-point percentage. Again, there was only 8 players that shot enough 3-pointers in 1981 that they could be considered to be the league leaders in 3-point percentage. All of them shot above 30%. The highest was 38 with a guy named Brian Taylor. Brian Taylor played 80 games in 1981 and took 115 3-pointers and made 44 of them.
Well, obviously, it's a way, like there's an emphasis on 3, so you're going to have the best 3-point shooters today as players hone that skill. It's something you get better at. You're not just born a great 3-point shooter. Like, you hone the skill, your natural ability to shoot. Like, just take from Gilbert Arenas. no, like outside. Okay, maybe I can agree with that, but a few players, it would be a ton of players. Like
Gil,
that's
they
just a
don't want to
disrespectful
listen. Gil,
take.
they get, and it's not no disrespect. It's just that
it
today's
is.
players are just too good. It isn't disrespect. Anything in the 1900s ain't touching the 2000s, bro. I'm sorry. And soon Gil's era is about to come up. As soon as we're done with the 2020s, we're gonna start looking back at Gil's era and be like, man, Gil, y'all not as good as them 2020 kids were.
You hear this, Gil? So
yeah,
Gil,
when your son starts
years,
balling, Gil, they're gonna be saying your son was way better than you.
Yeah, so Gil, they're gonna say that you couldn't play in a few years. Just keep that same energy.
Huh? No, Gil's gonna be again. They're gonna go back and see that Gil was one of the premier guards. Changed the game.
Yeah, but he couldn't play in 2052, right?
Huh? But no, in 2052, Gilbert Arenas would not be able to play. By then, Gilbert Arenas would be an ancient man. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Nobody.
That's
why they said we have agendas. We looking at Wemby. We're not thinking, oh my God, Wemby can't beat the GOAT. He can't challenge LeBron. Now it's going to be difficult, but the way Wemby playing, any LeBron fan looks at it and sees greatness. We're not threatened by guys who are great. We're not threatened by greatness.
I think there's a ton of players.
I don't have no agenda. I don't have to tell me what agenda here. None of my Heat teams are here. Well, I got my Miami Heat team here, but I don't have no agenda. My agenda is to provide facts. I always keep telling y'all that. All I do is provide facts, and I take my emotions and my subjectivity and throw it aside just for the sake of giving you guys information that you guys don't really know how to go find, nor care to go look up. But sit here and lie on the internet all day long about basketball. Y'all lie. Y'all don't even know what makes a team great. Unless LeBron's on it.
Adrian Knight. I love that. When folks listen to Gilbert Arenas, then you know there's a problem.
How y'all hate on Gilbert Arenas? He got Mike as the GOAT.
No one's hating on him. When he just says that nobody ever could play.
Y'all capping.
Regardless
what are we
of situation.
capping about? What are we capping about? It's not our fault that Michael Jordan had more help than LeBron James. It's not our fault Michael Jordan couldn't win without Scottie Pippen. It's not our fault. He said, look, they tell him, Gil, let them know, Gil. They all be in the comments getting reckless and loose. They'll still get reckless with Gil though in the actual panel as well. I've seen people get very disrespectful with basketball players. I'm like, yo, how you gonna bring a basketball player onto your show and just talk to them all recklessly? Like, they're supposed to be providing knowledge. Let them talk. Aswan, please explain to me what lies have we told here. Just explain this to me. I just want to know what lies have we told here. Again, everything I've ever used to determine what's the greatest teams of all time has always been the same factor. Even when I did something recently on Friday Night Exposure, we talked about what was the greatest team of all time. And when I picked what was it? I think it is the 90s. Let me get the Bulls team up here. Let me bring this up so Travis and I can have a conversation about it. And when I bring up the 96 Bulls, what am I using, Travis? I'm using MVPs, all league, defensive player of the year, all-stars, stat leaders, right? And I also use team stats. They were number one in offense, and they had a high net rating. The only thing I didn't include here was playoff series, like the amount of games won, like the playoff winning percentage. But this is how I've always ranked teams the same way. I don't vary from my views. I'm very simple. None of this is difficult to understand. None of this.
Yeah, I mean, let's say if they didn't win though, and like they were just dog water, these accolades would not have mattered.
And still, well, how would it mattered?
Because they didn't accomplish anything. If they hadn't accomplished anything, right?
They did accomplish something. They won that conference at least. We're saying like
it's just a big if. It's a big if, but obviously
let's just say if they would have lost to Orlando, like something like that, you could say, well, damn, that's a complete failure.
I mean, this is the time where you knew this was going to happen because they're just too good.
And mind you, I ain't even added they had the sixth man of the year.
Yeah. No, I still think Kareem has had the most help in NBA history, but that's just me.
Kareem?
Oh yeah.
He may have. He may have not. I mean, he kind of did. That's difficult. That's difficult, Travis. That's difficult because I didn't do too much of the research. He did have a lot of help.
I mean, what's another top 10 player that we talk about who's won their championships, the majority of the championships while they were out of their prime? Nobody.
I mean, he was into his prime to what, 85?
I'd say 84, and then like you saw it like start to dip drastically because Worthy was there too, and Magic, and so he could take a. He was still solid, but he wasn't 74, 72, 73 Kareem at all.
All right, let's let King Speech Row in the building. Shout out to King Speech Row. What you got for me today, sir? What's going on?
What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? So, I like this subject about greatest teams of all time, and I always look at it. Look, things go both ways. There's certain rules, certain ways they played back then that would translate to certain things that wouldn't translate. I'm going to go against you saying that there were no shooters back then because of the 3-point percentages. Because, like I said before on the channel, if the plays weren't drawn up, you had to, coaches didn't like the 3-point shot. They just didn't. So, I mean, really,
don't blame
guys had to overall shoot about 45% before they would get any love. And if you weren't going to make that shot consistently, there's no point of even taking it. So I mean, to say that 79 Sonics and the Celtics had no shooters, that's just not true. There were guys that could shoot, they just didn't draw up 3-point shots. So now, if you brought those teams to this era, there's a lot more freedom of movement. There's no hand checking that. They're gonna play a different way, and they're gonna play in this era style.
There's a lot of freedom of movement back then as well. I showed it last week. There was a lot of freedom of movement back then as well.
But you also said it's all one-on-one basketball.
Yeah, it's one-on-one. Exactly. Hand checking don't work. You ain't hand checking nobody on no one-on-one basketball. And again, the coaches didn't like players shooting those because the players couldn't shoot them. It took a coach that saw, okay, this guy can hit the shot for them to let players shoot it. Like you have to be able to shoot that shot. You can't make it. Why am I gonna let you shoot it if you can't make it? Like why am I doing that?
You have to, I mean, really, I remember Bird saying, if you didn't shoot 45%, you weren't in the rotation. And that means that's your whole, they didn't care about 3-point shooting. See, when the analytics came in, they said, okay, let's take that shot because the 3 worth 2, they started doing math equations. A shot is worth 3, you can make 33% of those and still be 50% if you were 2 points. But back then, they wanted you shooting 45%. They wanted you make, look at the game the other night.
That's what I'm saying, because they didn't have nobody back then that could shoot 33, 34% on a consistent basis. That's the point.
See, I don't believe that. They had plenty of guys that could shoot. They had plenty of guys that could shoot that percentage if you allowed them to shoot, if you started drawing up plays. Look at the game the other night. Fred VanVleet, they were up 1, and they were down 1, and he took 2 threes. Is that smart basketball? It's Fred VanVleet.
Because you got some background noise.
Yeah, my fault.
You got background noise, bro. Please turn that down. Whatever that is.
Yeah. So I said that the game Houston versus Memphis, that was a great game. Right? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
So that was a great game. Fred VanVleet took Houston's last 2 shots, and to me, he's their 4th best starter. Right? Really, that game should be in the hand of Sengun or Jalen Green. Even right at this point, Amen Thompson is their 3rd best player. Is that smart basketball? You're up 1, you're trying to close out the game. You take a 3, you miss it. Then you're down 1, and you're taking a 3 to win the game when a 2 can win the game. Is that smart basketball?
Yes, if it's the right shot.
But here's my thing: you got your 4th best player taking a shot, and you lose a game that you were trying to close out. It's not a good shot when you're not going to your best.
Again, because they play.
I don't know if that's you or me. I see Tperfect. You're frozen, Ajani.
I think you froze up for a second.
Okay. But my point is, okay, look, Sengun is their all-star. Their second guy should be an all-star, Jalen Green. Okay, isn't that your point guard's job? And that's VanVleet.
Hold on. Did y'all just hear me there? Because I think I had some.
Yeah, we didn't hear you. Froze up.
You like that for like
froze
30
up.
seconds.
Okay, yeah. Hold on, give me a second here. My internet just tripped on me here. Hold on here. Okay, am I back now? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. We hear you.
All right. So again, you are not equating that teams are playing defense. It's not easy to get the ball to your best man and run your play if teams know you're running your play. Fred VanVleet, give me a second here. Fred VanVleet on this team this year takes 7 3-pointers or 8 3-pointers at 34.5%. Yes, he can take that shot.
I don't want that. You see, look, at that point, a 34% chance to make the shot to close out and a 34% chance. What is Sengun shooting from? What is Sengun shooting from 2-point range? You down 1, remember?
So Sengun is shooting 49%. That 34.5 is better than 49%.
But you need a 2. You need 2 to win the game. You don't need 3 to win the game. It'd be one thing if you needed 3 to win,
but you're not gonna. But again, you need, first of all, you need the open shot. You need what shot is open first. That's the question. Which shot is open?
Actually, he shot it on a former defensive player of the year. Both shots. Jared Jackson was guarding it. That's a smart play.
Defensively, y'all call him defensive player of the year. That's what you want to call him. But
Jared Jackson Jr. won 2 defensive player of the years.
Yeah, he's not guarding Van Vliet out there. Van Vliet probably got it. I would like to see this play. Let me see if I can. Matter of fact, let's go look up this play. You said this was last night?
Both plays he was on them. This was the other night. That was a great game. Now look, you told me about watching the games now. That was a great game. Game of the year, they said it was.
Yeah, I don't watch every game. Now you can't watch every NBA game. I always tell y'all but you have to be watching the games. I do.
You had 2 versus 3 in the West. You had 2 versus 3 in the West, Johnny.
What day am I on? Today is. Wait a minute. I'm supposed to be. Why am I?
I believe they played today. I think they played on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? No, the Knicks played. The Knicks played Memphis on.
Rockets and Memphis game. Here it is. Here I just pulled it up. Let's look up this game here. Let me see if I don't want to watch the full game. I just want to see.
No, just the last 2 shots. That's all we need.
Oh no, wait. The last 2 shots. Let me see if they show it to us. Let's see here. Okay, they actually do. Wait, what's this? Wait a minute. Oh, this is the first quarter. Give me a sec. Pull up the 4th quarter. All right, let's see if they got the last play available to watch. Here it is. Okay, Fred VanVleet, 3 seconds left on the clock. Okay, so Jared Jackson makes 2 free throws to take the lead. It's 9 seconds left on the clock. And they call a timeout. They sub it, and they only take 1 three-pointer. So let's look at. Let me see if I can bring up this play here. Oh, here we go. All right, let's go. I don't know if I can. What's it called? This stuff. Hold on. Give me a second. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. We got King Rose Speech here. We're gonna break down some basketball plays here off of the NBA.com site. Give me a second as I try to bring this into a. How are they doing this? The NBA is tripping. All right, so give me a second here. Let me pull this up here. Share my screen. All right, you guys can see it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see
it. Here goes the play. It's 9 seconds left on the clock. Let's watch and see what the Houston Rockets do. So they get the ball. Amir Thompson tries to attack. Okay, first off, what was the first action done there, King Rowe?
Oh, I don't remember that. All I remember is they took the.
No, you can't see it right. You can't see right now.
Okay, no, I can't see it. I can't see it.
Okay,
I don't.
If we look at it very closely, we have a fake dribble handoff by Amin Thompson, and he tries to attack the basket. But great defense. Whatever you're playing in the back, bro. Whatever you're playing in the background, you got to turn that off, bro. Because it's really making a lot of noise, bro. Whatever it is you got, I don't know if you got family members with you and they're watching TV, but you gotta go somewhere else, bro, because you got background noise. So here we go again. Matter of fact, here we go. So let's watch this again. He tries to get to the paint, good defense. So what does he do? He goes back to an open man. Now VanVleet doesn't have time to do anything else but take that shot. There is no other shot to take. What do you want him to do in this position? Pass the ball to who? Who's open? There's nobody open when he takes this shot. Let's look at it here. Here is VanVleet getting the ball and driving to the lane. Who is open? What shot do you want? Sengun is not even on the floor, sir. Travis, are you there?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, am I bugging? What do you want? The play was for Amin Thompson. The original play was for Amin Thompson to get the ball, fake the dribble handoff here, then try to attack the basket. But obviously, it's good defense. Let's watch it again. I know my eyes see this. Amir Thompson fakes the.
I think the graph is blocking the screen for me to see that.
Oh, you know what? Dang. Why didn't you say that, Travis? I just asked y'all if y'all can see shit. I just asked you. None of you guys.
He was talking. I didn't want to go. Okay, good.
I asked you, can you see it? Can you fucking see it? Okay, because I can't, because once I go out of the screen, hold on, wait, matter of fact, I can do it. No, yeah, once I go out of the screen, I can't, it blocks it off. All right, so let's watch the play again, ladies and gentlemen. Watch what Amir Thompson does. He fakes a dribble handoff and tries to attack to the basket with the whole side of the floor is cleared for him to do. So the play was actually called for Amir Thompson to create a basket. But because they're playing great defense, he doesn't have anywhere else to go. So he passes it out, and where else is Van Vliet supposed to go to? Look at that was the play. The action was on that side of the floor. There was nothing else to do. This is not bad basketball. This was get the ball to your best player, Amir Thompson, see what he can do. If not, Van Vliet was supposed to create that space. He can take that shot. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I mean,
I don't. King Rose speech disappeared there. I don't know what he's talking about. I really don't. I don't get this.
I mean, I wasn't really familiar with like what he was trying to say. I mean, there was a bad play draw design.
I couldn't enlarge it. If I enlarged it, just enlarged the screen. It didn't enlarge the actual video play because I went on NBA.com to get this play. But y'all don't know basketball. Y'all just like, you should just take the better shot. How do you know that the shot that's 10 feet to the rim is available? 1. And how do you know that shot's not being contested? 2. A contested shot at the rim isn't better than an open three-pointer. I don't get what you guys get. Now, that wasn't an open three-pointer, right? He did take a contested three-pointer, but there was time ticking on the clock. There was no other shot to take. So unless you wanted him to just dribble and then try to take a contested layup, but I don't think Fred VanVleet is that good at getting to the rim and finishing at the rim. So the reason VanVleet is on the floor at that time is to make sure there's space because the guy that they want to go to the rim is Amir Thompson. Try to get fouled. Now we're depending on the referees. So what if they don't foul you? They just play good defense. Like you guys are not equating defense. You never equate that there's the same thing with the analytics. The analytics never said to stop playing defense and just shoot three-pointers. The only thing the analytics says is tells you which shot is the best shot to take. That's the only thing that's the only part of the analytics you guys want to talk. Y'all don't talk about the analytics that talk about how many steals you need to have, or how many turnovers you don't need to have, or how many offensive rebounds you need to have, or how many offensive rebounds you need to limit. There's analytics that say all of this. But you guys only stick to the analytics say shoot threes. Well, the analytics say a lot more than that. There's a lot more to the game of basketball than taking what shot you want to take. What does the analytics say when you play zone defense? What does the analytics say when you play drop against the pick and roll? What does the analytics say when, you know what I'm saying? All of this is a part of analytics.
Yep. I mean, I mean, if you watch the games, it's not just 3-point. Like there's plenty of like Connor. There's plenty of like drives to the hoop. There's plenty of everything. It's just that you have to be a multifaceted defense to have success in today's league. Like if you're gonna dominate, you have to be able to shoot the three and play great defense. Like we're seeing the Cavs do. They're the best of both right now. Like Cavs, Celtics, all these teams that are like top 5 or 6. The Thunder, they're gonna have these high rated metrics, like defensively and offensively, and you're going to see them because they've built rosters that can do all that. And it's
oh my God, Travis, these guys are hilarious. These guys are hilarious. When did the Knicks score 143? I know it was the other night. They did score 143 the other night versus somebody. Forgot who they did it with. My wife always be coming to me with this nonsense about the damn Knicks. Can't stand the damn Knicks. Matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, as we speak today, the Detroit Pistons beat the Dallas Mavericks 117-102 tonight. The Clippers beat the Hornets at 112-104. The Bulls won 122-106 versus the Raptors. The Nuggets won 137-134 versus the Philadelphia 76ers. The Spurs put a big amount of numbers versus the Milwaukee Bucks, 144-118, and Boston won against the Pelicans 118-116. And as of right now, we're in the middle of the second quarter where the Warriors are down 2 points versus the Phoenix Suns, and that's on ESPN if you're watching basketball tonight. So let's bring back King Speech Row. So King Row.
Yeah, what's going on? You're gonna have to excuse the music in the background. I'm in the supermarket. They're playing this '80s joint.
Okay,
They playing this '80s read.
You stuck in the 1900s. You just stuck in the
Nah,
1900s.
bro. No. It's not good. Again, it's not good. I can understand that the play might have. That's not what they wanted to do. But the point is that why is your fourth best player taking 2 shots to close the game? Again, if you tell me Sengun was fouled out or something, I didn't watch. I didn't.
No, I didn't know. You said I didn't. I don't know why Sengun went on the floor. I didn't watch that game.
Well, I want the ball in Jalen Green's hand. Why is your best guy not closing out that game? It's the game of the year.
No, because everybody thought Amen Thompson was the guy. Because again, if we go look at the play again, if we just let me just go back to this play again because
props to Amen Thompson too. He's stepping up, man. He's stepping up. Him and his brother. I'm a big fan of them.
They went to him against Boston, and he did a number.
And he won.
He did his thing.
The point. Okay, go ahead.
He hit that shot against Boston. He hit that shot against Boston. Okay, so hold on, wait. For them to take the lead, let's see here. They took the lead. When did they take the lead here? Let me see here.
I believe Houston was up most of the game, and Memphis came back.
Okay, so
they got a bounce for the time being. But
all right, no problem. Thanks so much, Travis. Yeah, I'm about to get up out of here very shortly too.
All right, Tperfect. Yo,
all right. Salute. All right. So the Houston Rockets took the lead with well, wait a minute. It's 119, 116. Oh, wait, they've been took the lead. They were up already. So they scored their last point off of 3 free throws by Jalen Green at 1:54 in the game. Then they missed
best player.
They missed the layup from their best player at 1:20. Van Vliet turned over the ball at 52 seconds. They got a rebound. Then this is the one that you were talking about where Fred Van Vliet took a 25. Let's look at this play. Let's see if I can bring this play up here.
It was over Triple J.
Here we go. All right, so here we go. So let me see. The thing is that I can't make this any bigger than what it is because it doesn't. Oh, it does get. Oh no, wait, no, it doesn't. Share my screen. All right, y'all can see it, right? You can see it, Ro? All right, y'all can see it, right? You see what I'm watching, right? Everybody can see it in the comments.
Okay.
I
see it now. It's better now too.
All right, let's watch this play. So Fred VanVleet has the ball. They call for the screen. They get the switch. Now stop it here. Now what action you think they're trying to run? I think they're trying to go. I don't know if that's Sengun or not, but he basically takes a step back three. It's contested, but basically there's no other shot. There's nothing else to do here. It's 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Like, what did you want him to do? The time, first of all, this starts off with 22 seconds left to go in the game, and there's 8 seconds left on the clock. So they run a play with Steve Adams. So this is the play for Van Vliet to take a 3-pointer. This is the play that they run, and
Triple J switch off.
This is what they don't get the rebound, which is a bad thing. So that's the first play that you talked about there, right? That's the first play you brought up there.
Okay.
So let's go back and let's look at the last play. So wait, here we go. Here is the last play. So that was this shot here, missed by him. They still got the lead because it wasn't until Dylan Brooks fouled this guy and sent him to the line.
Triple J hit the free throws.
Yeah, and Triple J hit the free throws. They took the 2-point lead, and then we had now this play. So let's go to this play. And like I said, this time they set up. This is an actual inbound play. They set up a play for Amen Thompson right here. Amen Thompson has the ball. He fakes the dribble handoff and tries to penetrate. And as you can see, they cleared the whole side of the floor for him. And where's Jalen Green? Jalen Green's man is right on top of him. So he's not even open for a shot.
Okay.
The only person that's open is this dude in the corner. And Van Vliet is open because the reason Van Vliet is here is to make sure that they don't double team Amen Thompson, but they say, fuck it, we're gonna double Amen Thompson anyways.
And we're gonna live with you. We're gonna live with Van Vliet.
We're gonna live with Van Vliet taking this shot right here. That's all they have. Look, great defense. Again, great defense. That's it. You gotta chop it up to defense. You didn't get the rebound. Okay. They stopped the possession. That's just great defense. That's not.
So
bad
can I
offense.
counter?
That's not bad basketball.
Counter?
Sure.
Can I counter with a 6'1" guy with a 6'11" guy on him in the 90s? Give me any point guard. Give me KJ. give me Mark Price, give me any of them. They are breaking down the big man. And you know what they're doing? They're getting a better two. Instead of taking a fadeaway three over a 6'11" guy, they're getting KJ would have absolutely put Triple J in a spin cycle. I mean, Kenny Anderson, Rod Strickland. See, this is what I mean.
Nope, they're not that good at finishing at the rim.
And you know what Houston would have done with Akeem Olajuwon?
Huh?
You know what Houston would have done with Akeem Olajuwon?
They wouldn't have got him the ball. They would have double teamed him before he would even touch the ball.
Okay, and then he would have kicked it open to one of his mini shooters.
How?
See, that's better basketball.
He doesn't have the ball.
You just said they would have double teamed him. No, you said they would have double teamed him.
I said they would have double teamed him before he got the ball.
They would have got it to an open shooter, and there were plenty of open shooters on the Houston.
A shooter that couldn't shoot off the dribble. No, that's the point. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. You can't shoot.
But wait a minute, somebody's open. Why they even have to shoot off the dribbles? They're open. You got Robert Horry, you got Mario Ellie, you got Vernon Maxwell, you got Sam Cassell.
None of those dudes could create their own shot off the dribble. None of those dudes could do any of that.
Did you say Sam Cassell could not create his own shot?
He was a rookie in 1994.
Sam I am?
Yes, that's what the fuck I just said. Yes, Sam Cassell cannot create a shot off the dribble and beat your team with that. You're not going to win if you're getting Sam Cassell the offense to run.
Gil, you hear this? Are you listening,
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah,
Are you listening, Gil?
I guarantee you Gil agrees with me. Guarantees you. He was in the league when Sam Cassell was in the league.
Sam I am was one of the big. Sam I am is Baltimore's finest. They are straight one-on-one, break you down. Are you kidding me?
Today's NBA ain't one-on-one. It's 1-on-5. It's 5-on-5. You're not playing one-on-one.
Sam Cassell could get his own shot off the dribble.
Not against today's NBA. Not against today's NBA player. He's going to miss. He's going to miss. He's going to miss.
Wait a minute. He has a 6'11" guy on him.
He's going to be inefficient. Yes, a 6'11" guy that he cannot break down. That 6'11" guy.
I mean, Gil played against Sam I am. Gil played against Sam I am in his prime.
Gil, and I guarantee you, Gil cooked him. You want me to go to Minnesota 2004?
He didn't cook John Stockton. Come on now. Let's stop it. He didn't cook 40-year-old John Stockton.
You said John Stockton. You didn't mention. You said John Stockton. You didn't just. You mentioned Sam Cassell. You can't use you cannot put Sam Cassell and John Stockton in the same fucking breath, bro. If you know basketball, you cannot do that. John Stockton is John Stockton. You said Sam Cassell. I don't give a fuck how old. I don't give a fuck how old John Stockton was. He know how to play basketball. You're talking about a guy who can shoot off the dribble, not fucking Sam Cassell.
Everybody from Baltimore can shoot off the dribble. That's like. I mean, you telling me Baltimore? I don't give a fuck one of Baltimore's finest. You telling me one of Baltimore's finest? You told me. I mean, you talk about a guy had range. Sam I am turned that series around against the Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan. Derek Harper had Kenny Smith in a box with that hand check. Sam Cassell came in there, and Derek Harper couldn't be as effective. So yes, Sam was a rookie. Because
Sam Cassell knows how to dribble, and I point that out when I brought up the finals. I mentioned it, and when I showed y'all the difference between the guards that were in the league and the new guards coming in, and that's why the league changed to more guard play, because now you have guards who can dribble a little bit better. But he can't do that compared to today. He can do that back then. He's not doing that today. He's not doing it against anybody in today's NBA.
Did the 3-point change? And I know your guys.
The defense changed. The defense changed. The defense changed. The players play better now.
The same defense is guarding Akeem without the ball. The same defense is double teaming Akeem when he doesn't even have the ball. And they're going to leave four guys to shoot open.
No, shoot open. They can't shoot.
Or he can't shoot. Big shot Bob couldn't shoot.
These niggas can't shoot. Rob Horry is a catch and shoot guy.
But you got 2-on-1 guy without the ball. So all you got to do is catch and shoot. All you got to do is all you got to do is score. So that's why I said
you are not equating to any you're not equating no defense at all. So you're saying
your defense is already at a defense.
No. Are you telling me 3 guys can't cover 4 guys? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. That's basketball.
Then you don't know basketball. Especially guys who are spaced out. Then you don't know basketball.
Wait. You don't know basketball. All they got to do is find a spot around. I got 2 guys on a team who doesn't even have the ball. So he's already a successful decoy. You mean to tell me I got 4 guys? One of them is going to get a wide open shot, and I'm not going to be happy. They didn't even have to make a 3 because remember I'm only down 1. I'm not down 2.
They're not going to get a wide open shot. We're going to rotate. When the ball moves, we're going to rotate.
So we're going to rotate over. So I guess
that's why you're going to have to be. They're going to make you put the ball on the floor. And when you put the ball on the floor,
whoever was playing the Lakers with Kobe when Big Shot Bob was there.
When you let Robert Horry put the ball on the floor, he gonna fuck it up. When you let Mario Ellie put the ball on the floor, he gonna fuck it up. They're like Duncan Robinson. They're not.
But you just have an all-time great drawing a double team. But you have an all-time great drawing a double team. This is why.
To stop
this
him
is
from
why
getting
Rob
that.
only has 7 rings. Wait.
Bro, you can't keep spitting and not let me intervene with this. It doesn't matter if I'm double teaming Akeem Olajuwon, because once you decide to go to the weak side with the ball, I'm just gonna rotate to the fucking weak side, and I got defenders who can cover that space. Jared Jackson could cover way much more space than fucking Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley.
You gotta be. You gotta. First of all,
the only guy in the 90s. The only guys in the 90s that can actually cover space as a big man was David Robinson. That's it. Not even Akeem Olajuwon. They cannot run 20 feet and run all over the place. You cannot do that. You cannot switch Akeem Olajuwon onto a guard like a Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet will cook him. You guys can't accept this. No, I'm not done. You can't accept this. You are bringing up what happened then. What happened then happened then. What happened in the 1900s cannot happen now, because teams will rotate. And I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to show it to you again, because you asked me to go get film just to make me show you how you don't know the game of basketball. Let's go back. Wait, let's go back. Let's go back to the same fucking play, the same situation, and watch what I'm going to show you. Watch what I'm going to prove to you why today's defense is better. I keep explaining this. You guys don't understand it. It is simple basketball. Stop trying to stick with narratives that you can't prove. I keep telling y'all this. Here we go. I'm going to show it to you right here, right now, Mr. Rowe. Here we go, Hero. Okay? All right. You see the play? Is it available for you?
Yes, I see it.
Okay.
I remember it.
Okay.
But go ahead. Let's see it again.
So there is a double team, correct?
Yes, it is.
Amen Thompson is double teamed, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's Akeem Olajuwon. Who's going to be open?
I guess it's VanVleet. Nobody's on VanVleet right now.
Okay, nobody on the Houston Rockets could take that shot and make that shot that VanVleet is trying to take. So what are you talking about?
You want the 90s Houston Rockets or the Houston Rockets?
The 1990s Houston Rocket team, 94 team, 95 team that won a championship. There's not a player on that team that can hit that shot on an efficient basis like Fred VanVleet can. There's not. When I got
Mario Ellie.
When I say can't, he can't hit it. Now on an efficient basis. Continue. He's not gonna be efficient. He's not gonna hit it above 35%, 34%.
I mean, Big Shot Bob has 7 rings, and you know who he played with the 7 rings, right?
He can't do that. He cannot do that. That is a 30-footer, 35-footer, sir. He cannot hit that, sir.
Why are we taking 35-footers? Why?
Because the defense.
So
So if Fred VanVleet is 5 feet closer, it's easier to play defense. The reason Fred VanVleet is damn near 40 feet from the rim is because he has to drag the defender away from the double team. Like I said, they double team the man with the ball. This is a man with the ball. By the time by the time the ball gets to him, okay, look how the man rotates and is back in his position. Who's open now? Again, just like I told you, Akeem Olajuwon didn't get the ball. They double teamed Akeem Olajuwon. Who's
off
open?
the ball? He did his job.
You know why? Because you see the guy at the elbow. You see the guy at the low block. That's called team defense. By the time by the time you try to rotate this pass, and mind you, there is no passing lane. The guy at the elbow is blocking VanVleet from making that pass to the corner. Jalen Green's not open.
That's bad basketball to me then. That's bad basketball because
that's great defense. That's great defense, Ro. That's great defense, Ro. That's great defense, Ro. It's great defense.
By the same team I put 143 on. And yes, we put 143 on the Grizzlies and we put 143 on the Kings.
That's fine.
2 teams in the West.
That's fine, because guess what? Jalen Brunson, way better than all the guys you mentioned from the 90s. As far as skill-wise, they have way better. They're just more skilled. They can do more with a basketball. That's just it. They got a 7-footer. They got a 7-footer hitting 30-footers off the dribble.
I understand that. Cat is a beast. But wait a minute, Cat. Since he hurt his hand, and he hitting the threes at that level, we still finding ways to score.
Mikal Bridges got his shot going off now. Mikal Bridges found his shot.
Yeah,
he's a 20-point per game scorer. That's what I'm saying.
Bridges is also the best. Bridges is also the best mid-range shooter in the game.
I
Bridges is also the most. Yep.
That's fine, but nobody calls him one of the greatest scorers all the time. Him being a good mid-range shooter don't mean shit. Don't mean shit. It don't mean shit.
He's a third
it don't
option.
mean shit. No, again, he's a third option on this team. He could be a first option on the Nets, which is what he was. But again, the Knicks are so good. The Knicks are so good, and Memphis Grizzlies, as good as they are, they're not good enough to beat the Knicks. The Knicks had a good game that night. The Knicks was hot. I remember my wife watching that game. They were on fire that game.
Props to your wife. Props to your wife. Let's go Knicks.
Sometimes you can't stop this. Sometimes this Van Vliet shot goes in, and it goes in at a 30% clip, and you can't say nothing. But just
my only point is get the best shot available. First of all, 5 guys should be a threat.
They do that. They do that every year.
5 guys should be a threat.
They do that every year. I don't know where you get that they don't do it. They do it every time.
I didn't say they didn't do it. I didn't say they didn't do it. But wait a minute. You just when we started, I said Triple J was a 2-time defensive player of the year, and you kind of brushed that off. Now all of a sudden he's better than every defensive center in the 90s.
No,
that's not fair. Wait.
No. I said he's predicated not off of his defensive player of the year, predicated off of his athleticism. And
I watched it.
Body's like, wait, this is what you guys do. Instead of talking the game, which is something you guys really cannot do, you try to conflate it with the GOAT debate. The GOAT debate is predicated on stats, accolades, and achievements. Listen, the GOAT debate is predicated on stats, accolades, and achievements. That's when we mention stuff like being a defensive player of the year. That's when we mention being an all-NBA player. When we're talking about skill level and talent level, which is what you guys want to talk about, and IQ, nothing compares to today's NBA. It is the greatest. There's no players that shoot better, that dribble better, that dunk better, that pass better, that play better defense, that do everything in the game of basketball better than today. They do everything better. They're faster, they're quicker, they're smarter.
We got guys in rotation shooting 30%. We got guys in rotation shooting in the 30s. That's not good basketball.
Shooting 30s and what? What do you mean shooting 30s%?
You're shooting overall 30s. Like Trae Young just bought his, and Trae Young, who wanted to be All-Star, he just bought his overall shooting percentage up over 40. And he's only 33 from threes. He was 31 at one point. That's not great basketball.
That is great basketball because again, you're not equating the fact that the majority of his shots are 3-pointers. So his efficiency will be predicated closer to his 3-point shooting, which his 3-point shooting is in the mid-30s. So of course his field goal percentage is going to be down because half of his shots are 3-pointers. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you guys are not using real facts to do any of this. So hold on, wait. Let me see if I can find Van Vliet's numbers. Who does Van Vliet play for? Van Vliet plays for
Houston.
He plays for Houston. Let me go find Houston's team.
Yep.
Let me see here. Let me go to Houston. All right, Houston Rockets. Apply. Get the stats. All right, here we go. Houston Rockets. All right, Fred VanVleet from 25 to 30 feet shoots 33% from the 3-point line. My friend, he can take that shot.
Not a good shot. I don't want the game on the line.
Wait. From 20 to 24 feet, Fred VanVleet shoots 43%. He can take that shot, sir.
Not on the 7-footer.
Oh wait, at the rim, he shoots 52%. Less than 5 feet, he shoots 52%. So he is more efficient as a scorer, shooting a 20 to 20 foot shot or shooting outside of 20 feet than he is at the rim, sir. He's more efficient. So that's his best shot. If you're a coach, you're gonna tell Fred VanVleet. Exactly, you're gonna tell Fred VanVleet, find your jumper, and that's what Fred VanVleet did. That's the point, brother. That's the point. And in reality, when we're looking at the guys who take the most shot at the rim, Sengun takes 8 shots within 5 feet, and he shoots close to 60%. That is what you want. You really want Amen Thompson. Amen Thompson gets to the rim, and he makes it at 69%. That's what you want.
Listen, Amen Thompson is stepping up. I love it. I love to see it. Second-year player. I hope we see him in the Rising Stars Challenge do his thing.
So, Fred VanVleet, though, does take an average of 6 3-pointers per game. But if we go to these guys, Amen Thompson takes 5 shots at the rim per game. Jalen Green takes 5 shots at the rim per game.
Those are the guys you want.
Sengun takes 8. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So it's not like there's no bad basketball here. Again, it's all predicated on what the defense does.
My thing is those are the first 3 I want taking a shot. That's the last. The shot play has to really break down for me to want Van Vliet taking that shot. That's what I'm saying.
You don't know basketball get down. 33% from outside of 25 feet is good.
But not when then you have a 33% when you're down 1, you have a 33% chance of winning the game. That's what I'm saying. That's why you want to get a higher percentage shot down one.
All right. Listen, the guys who take shots, the most shots outside of 25 feet. Lonzo Ball, 8.5 shots per game, 35%. That's good. Brandon Miller, 8 shots per game outside of 25 feet. That's 37%. That's good. Jason Tatum, 8 shots outside of 25 feet, 37%. That's good. Stephen Curry, 8 shots outside of 25 feet. He makes 41% of them. That shows you how good Stephen Curry is. That's really good. The next guy, Tyrese Maxey, just under 8 shots per game outside of 25 feet, 36%. Tyler Hero, 7 shots outside of 25 feet, 40%. Again, those are great shooters. Victor Wembanyama takes 7 shots outside of 25 feet from the rim. He makes them at 34%. Now, Victor is somebody you would say he should be taking more shots at the rim because he shoots 73% at the rim.
Not even a question.
He should be taking more shots at the rim, and I don't agree with you. But the fact that he needs to take those 7 shots is what helps him get those shots at the rim as well. Because he's
I
not
get that point.
Okay, Damian Lillard, another guy who shoots 38%, 7 shots per game, 25 feet or more. 37% for the next guy. I'm going down the line. 36, 41, 38, 36, 40, 43, 37, 42, 39%. Van Vliet. We finally get the Van Vliet, who shoots as bad as shoots as low as Victor Wembanyama. But all these guys who are the top guys they all shoot above 35%. And none of these guys are that great at the rim. Majority of them at. Stephen Curry and Tyler Hero not that great at the rim. Well, Tyler Hero is actually doing good this year. Tyler Hero's a baller.
Tyler Hero, listen, anybody that say Tyler Hero ain't an all-star, you're full of it. Tyler Hero stepped it up.
Let me see where it's
No, this is my thing.
Stephen Curry is about 57% at the rim. So, yeah, but the whole point is that the 60% that Tyler Hero shoots at the rim is not better than the 40% that he shoots outside of 25 feet. So that's the point. That's the point.
Yeah,
too,
but
well.
with down one, you want that 60% rather than the 40. There's no like you want to draw up the best play.
The guy who gets to the rim and gets the most shots at the rim is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He takes
which of course we know that we don't need to see the numbers to know that.
He shoots 72% there. The next guy who gets the most shot closest to the rim is Zion Williamson. Right? And
that's no surprise.
That's no surprise. Then it's RJ Barrett. That's a surprise.
Shout out to my boy RJ. I'm a Knicks fan, so I'm rooting for them too.
Now, mind you, all 3 of these guys that I mentioned are not good 3-point shooters. Zion is average. He shoots 33%. Giannis is shooting 19% from the 3-point land, and RJ Barrett is shooting 29.5%. Then you get Joker, who obviously we know is one of the best post-up players of all time. He shoots 67% at the rim, but he's shooting 50% outside of 25 feet, which blows out the 67% at the rim. As how good as he shoots from the 3-point land. That's
the one guy I would want shooting that shot in that situation. But I would prefer a 2 because I only need 2 to win. It's like,
here we go.
Like, would you go for a touchdown? Would you go for a touchdown down 2 when you can kick a field goal?
I hear it. No, but again, it depends on the analytics and what's the best shot. Some people think I can get that some people think I can get those yards quicker than I can get the field goals, right?
If I can get Randy Moss on a 5'7" guy with no wasn't, of course I'm going for the touchdown.
If it's 4th and goal, right? And I can kick a field goal to tie the game, or I can score a touchdown to win the game, what do you do? Some people say, well, kick the field goal, but in some people's mind, man, all I gotta do is get 2 yards to win the game. You just tell me all I need is 2 yards
to win the game. You better get that touchdown. You better get that touchdown.
But what's the factor? There is a defensive team on the other side that could prevent you from reaching those 2 yards.
Of course, but if you don't get that touchdown, you're getting fired.
Exactly, and it's the same thing with the thing. You also have to execute the kick. That your kicker has to make the field goals, right? So there's a lot of variables that goes into this. So you got to take the risk. But at the end of the day, we're not as smart as the NBA coaches and NBA analytics. They're smarter than us. They study.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. A lot of smart guys. I'll just ask this last question. I'll drop away. When Kobe let Fred VanVleet shoot a game winner with the shot on the line, or what would Kobe do?
Lose.
He would lose. He won 5 championships, 7 finals.
Yeah, he won 5 championships predicated on getting rebounders around him. So all those brick shots that he's taking.
Include Robert Ory, who he would get
Kobe
open a
shot
couple of them
horrible.
tips.
Kobe shot horrible in the 2010 NBA Finals, but Paul Gasol rebounding and outplaying everybody on Boston was why they won that damn NBA championship.
Not in that fourth quarter. Not in the fourth quarter, game 7. Listen, shout out, man. Yo, good.
Wasn't Kobe 6 of 24 in game 7?
He was, but in the fourth quarter, he made 4-6.
Guess
I believe.
what?
4-6, 4-7.
Yeah, taking all those bad shots, which is why he had to pass the ball to a wide open Ron Artest, who said, "Nah, I'm not giving it back to you, Kobe. I'm jacking this up. I'm hitting it."
I got you. Artest kept him in the game. Kobe won it. Listen, I was rooting for the Celtics. I was rooting against Kobe. Good night, bro.
All right, brother. Have a great evening, man. Y'all make sure to catch King Speech Road. He has a channel. I forgot what channel that was he was on, and I saw you on. I don't know if that was your channel or not, but I was being a Snoop boy, trolling through Goat James Kingdom, and I saw y'all talking, and I was going to see what y'all was talking about. He says here, breaking news: DeJounte Murray just suffered a season-ending Achilles tendon injury. Oh, that is sad. Oh, man, that's sad. That is sad. That is sad. That is sad. So what do they do? What do they do then? What does that team do? Anybody want Zion Williamson? Does anybody want Zion on their team? Zion is up for grabs, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon Ingram is another one. He's another guy that can change a team's destiny, man. He's a good role player. You can put him on your team. Yep, another hurt player. Again, it's hard out here, man. These guys are making quick moves. They gotta practice more. These guys are doing way much more than all these other guys had to do back in the days. I remember watching something recently about Michael Jordan denying the Olympic team and saying why he didn't want to play for the Dream Team, and they were saying how, if you're Mike, you all you do all summer is 36 hole golfs and enjoying your summer, and now you got to go play games of basketball. You got to go to practice. Like, those guys used to enjoy their summer. Today's NBA players can't enjoy their summer, man. If you take a summer off, you probably not gonna get a new contract. Like, you have to work out 367. You have to be dedicated to your craft, and all of the NBA players are doing it. And shout out to Kobe. Kobe's the reason why today's NBA is the way it is, as far as that goes. As far as players saying, I'm going to make myself better, and I'm going to do it every day. Like, I'm not just going to be satisfied with yesterday. Today's another day to make myself a better player. Kobe did it every day. Like, Kobe didn't take no time off. Kobe was a fanatic when it came to making himself a better basketball player, which is why people love his game and why people always think he's the most skilled player in NBA history. So I got Reaper back in the building. I'm going to get up out of here, Reaper. Any last words before we get up out of here?
Of course, bro. You know what it is. LeBron's the GOAT. He done beat the toughest competition, bro. Like, what do we have to, bro? Just if we want to send a goodbye, just the Spurs were like lethal competition. 7 out of 10 finals that he faced was the Spurs or the Warriors. 7. Like, bro, people, it doesn't register in their head, bro.
Damn, now that you say that, I never thought of that. That's true. 7 out of the 10 finals were against the Warriors and against the Spurs.
Bro, 70% was against dynasties, bro. 70%.
But they know what they'll say? That they were only dynasties because LeBron couldn't beat them.
They don't, man. The Spurs team were ridiculous, especially in the 20. I mean, you can't even say especially in the 2010s. They were just ridiculous, period.
That's hilarious, man. Listen,
like, the only easy team he, like, quote unquote faced was the Heat, but that's because they got hurt. Like, every team he faced was like either really good or like great.
I mean, when we look at it here, right, when he faced the Spurs in 2007, the Spurs were a better team. They had 2 All-Stars, 1 All-NBA player, 2 All-Defensive players on their roster. And then he went into the finals versus the Warriors. I mean, against the Spurs again, where they were better in 2013. The Heat were better in 2014 as well. But they lost that one. But they won the one in 2013. Then the Warriors were better in 2015. And the only reason the Cavs lost that, because all LeBron needed was either Kevin Love or Kyrie, or they would have won that series. And then they won the next year, and that team was better than the Cavs. Then obviously the next 2 years with the Warriors would definitely, just like I said, everybody knows that 2017, 2018, 2019 Warriors is the greatest team of all time. As far as talent wise go and skill level, you can't compete it. But when you go with accomplishments, and the greatest team of all time would be the '96 Bulls.
Yeah, I mean that was a hell of a team. That was what 72 and 10, right? With
Yep, 72-10 Chicago Bulls, league MVP, 2 All NBA players, 3 All Defensive players, 2 All Stars, the rebounding champ, the scoring champ, the sixth man of the year, and coach of the year.
Yeah, that's one thing that Braun didn't have was a coach like Phil Jackson.
Yep, they don't have none of that. They didn't have none of that. So shout out to you, Lamont. Lamont said they need to just tank, trade, and stars, and trade the stars away while they still have value. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, it's over for the Pelicans. I don't know what they can do. That's just a sad scenario, man. DeJounte Murray's a good player, and he's trying to find a spot and a place to be, and not having to go through an Achilles, even though it's different now with the Achilles, people heal better. So, but I appreciate you, Reba, man. Listen, man, if you want to make sure you come check us out, I'm gonna do the Monday thing again. I'll have the link available for GOAT James Kingdom members. Thank you for your support, man. I appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing you on Sunday as well. All right.
Yeah, you have a happy Friday, bro.
All right, peace, man. You enjoy yourself, brother. So again, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great Friday night. We had a great show talking the game of basketball. Obviously, Michael Jordan and LeBron was mentioned a few times, but we actually were able to keep a conversation about the game of basketball, talk about the greatest teams to ever play, the players that were on those teams. Again, today's show was about Travis and I arguing about whether the Detroit Pistons of 2010, the Pistons of 88 were better than the 2010 Celtics. And again, I still think that you have to use accolades and achievements to show how good of a team you are, because we really can't compare your stats, because you can't compare eras. It's just different. I know people say, well, why do you do it with players? I still don't compare stats with players. I never say that, Wilt Chamberlain's 30 points per game is better than Jordan's 30 points per game. Like, we never do that. We just say that's what their average is. That's what they accomplish. And we always go off of what a player's accomplishments are. So, and that's why we don't use averages. We just go off of your totals. Your totals tell you everything you need to know about a player's career. You score 30,000 points, you're a great scorer. Hands down. Score over 25,000 points, you're a good scorer. Score 20,000 points, you're considered a decent scorer. If you score under 20,000 points, you're not a scorer. You're just somebody who was in the NBA, and that whatever. I don't care if you average 20 points per game. If you got less than 20,000 points, you wasn't a scorer. I'm sorry, Gil. You only got like 12,000 points, if I'm correct. I think, something like that. I think that's what they was. I think they were saying they always use you, Gil. Gil, you're always the catalyst for when Zesty Jeffries want to bring up something. They always bring up Gilbert Arenas' numbers. They always tell me about how many points you average and stuff like that. But again, that's what tonight's show was about. We were trying to figure out how to measure these teams, and Travis was trying to use team stats. And like I said, the 1988 Detroit Pistons gave up 105 points per game, but the 2010 Celtics only gave up 95 points per game. But the Pistons were ranked higher and rated higher than Boston was. So how do we compare it? You see what I'm saying? I know, okay, we can say, well, the Piston team was one of the best defensive teams of their era, or that season, and they were a better team that season than Boston was for the teams that they faced in that season, and that's true. But it's different competition, like I said. When I say something like LeBron has the best eliminations performances of all time, it's predicated on LeBron. I'm comparing LeBron to LeBron, and I'm comparing other players to other players, so that like to themselves. Like this again, you guys really tried to pin us into a corner and try to like find a way for us to have some kind of narrative, because you guys think we just have an agenda. We really don't. Our only agenda is to prove LeBron's the GOAT. And my true agenda is to prove what greatness is. Just like tonight's program, I had to show King Speech Row how great defense is played today. You guys don't want to accept that. You want to say it's bad basketball instead of saying that's great defense. You want to say, oh, they're not playing good defense instead of saying, no, that's great offense. But if we bring up the 90s, it's, oh, no, it's great defense. That's why they couldn't score. But then if they do score a lot of points, well, no, because they were great scorers. They were good at scoring. I don't know what it is with you guys. You guys are the ones that have no consistency. But that's why GOAT James Kingdom has to exist. And that's why Brandon and I go live every Sunday noon Eastern time, where you can catch the GOAT James Kingdom show with B. Lee and Ajani. We are the Clutch Sports Hitmen. We are the ones that Zesty Jeffries fear. We are the ones that Kobe Bryant fans actually respect, because they know that as LeBron fans, we know how to talk the game. So Kobe Bryant fans actually respect us more than Zesty Jeffries do. But we all know that Zesty Jeffries permeate throughout the basketball world. They have infiltrated the Michael Jordan fan base. They've infiltrated Kobe's fan base, and they're all over LeBron fans for no reason because they can't talk the game of basketball. Shout out to you, Dustin. Dusty, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Bruh, they don't want the smoke. They don't want the smoke. Because I've been telling y'all about how I want my 20v1. I need my 20v1 versus 20 Zesty Jeffries. And I from what I understand, they don't have too many people that want to accept the challenge. They are afraid of what I can do. They know what I can do.
Say, bro. Who that is? I'm the type of nigga stand on business, nigga. One man arm against 50, nigga.
Manny, bring me everyone. What do you mean everyone?
Oh yeah, so let me get my 20v1 very soon. I really want that, ladies and gentlemen. But like I said, if you guys love what we do here in GOAT James Kingdom and you would like to support what we do here in GOAT James Kingdom, go ahead and check out the GOAT James Kingdom membership, where you go to our channel and you basically will do it off a desktop, and they'll ask you to join. And from there, you'll see the different tiers. We have the Knights of GJK, the Castle Knights of GJK, and the King Guards of GJK. It only costs $4.99 to support what Brandon and I do here as a Knights of GJK, where you do have access to exclusive GJK content and material. You also access to the special member chats and show shout outs like we do all the time. And again, we are going to be doing a member chat this week on Monday, 9 p.m. So you guys make sure to check that out. So again, just go to our GOAT James Kingdom platform, support what Brandon and I do by becoming a member. Also, if you don't feel like becoming a member, just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that ring notification. Let them know, let YouTube know that you are interested in our content. Because again, Brandon and I will continue to drop content like we do every week. So again, this was a great Friday night. I had a great time with you guys. You guys know what I do best. You have now been exposed by the Exposer. So what we'll do is we'll end tonight's program like we always do. You guys enjoy your Friday evening. Be safe. Peace and blessings.
If you're a basketball fan and you're tired of basketball shows that talk about fake narratives and using non-basketball terms like killer instinct, playoff translation, gravity, come to GOAT James Kingdom.
Welcome to GOAT James Kingdom, where basketball lives forever. You get to enjoy VV and Ajani talk basketball every Sunday noon Eastern time right here on the GOAT James Kingdom channel. Support by subscribing and also check out the membership at GOAT James Kingdom.